Odessa area and a lot of the Permian Basin. But overnight and even last night, we saw a lot of rainfall throughout the day yesterday. And of course, with that cold front that blew in, brought a lot of wind yesterday, dropped our temperatures significantly. And that is what we're going to expect for the rest of our night. But more is on the way. Let's join Chief Meteorologist Tom Teefer-Teller from the First Alert 7 Weather Center with a little bit of what's going on right now and what to expect as well. But Tom, one thing we do know for certain that's going on at this moment, it is freezing outside.
It is definitely freezing. Temperatures hovering right around 15 degrees. Wind chill values near zero. Here's a look at the radar right now. We've got kind of all modes of precipitation here on the radar, looking at snow falling, light snow across parts of the central northern Permian Basin into southeast of Mexico, occasionally mixed in with some sleet out there too. And we're also looking at a transition zone of freezing rain and sleet. You get south of the Permian Basin down towards the Trans-Pecos and even into the mountain areas. We're going to be dealing with that. So that's going to be the favored areas for the freezing rain, which could cause some treacherous travel in those locations. Zooming in on the Midland Odessa area, again seeing areas of light snow continue to move across the Midland Odessa area and off to the north and northeast at the present time. And this is going to continue in the forecast, it looks like, through the evening hours. Expecting accumulations upwards to an inch, and that is collecting on some of the area roads. You can see what we are dealing with right now. Roads are slick in numerous areas. I was driving in, went down Faudree, it was rather slick, and then it eased up a little bit on the access roads of 191 here to the TV station on the east side of town in Odessa. But again, don't travel if you don't have to. It's not really recommended out there, as we are dealing with, again, temperatures bitterly cold. Look at these readings into the mid to upper teens across the area, right around 15 to 14 across the Midland Odessa area. You get closer to the Pecos River, it warms up a little bit into the 20s, oh boy, and temperatures into the 30s around the Marfa area. So you can see where the slump of Arctic air is located there, right across portions of the Permian Basin. Wind chill values are bitterly cold. You don't want to be out in this if you don't have to, as we're all the way down to 4 below is what it feels like in Big Spring. Feels like 0 around Midland and Odessa, 1 out at the Midland International Air and Spaceport, 2 in Andrews. And then the wind eases up a little bit with the temperature, so not quite as bad across portions of the Trans-Pecos. You can see the Arctic air is really plunged down into West Texas, as Amarillo now is at 5 degrees, so cold stuff out there. Winter storm warnings are in effect across most areas of West Texas and southeast of Mexico, with the exception of the Marfa Plateau and along the Rio Grande, as we could see 1 to 3 inches of snow accumulating, maybe up to 6 inches across the Guadalupes, and we could see another quarter to a tenth of an inch to a quarter inch of ice. That's primarily going to be southern Permian Basin into the Trans-Pecos, so that's going to cause slick roads, power outages a possibility, and some tree damage with the weight of the ice out there, as we're looking at extreme cold warnings remaining in effect all the way through noontime on Monday, as we're expecting those wind chill values to stay bitterly cold, right around 0 into negative territory here over the next couple of days, and cold weather advisory a little bit further south into the mountain areas, as we'll still see those wind chill values into single digits coming up here over the next 24 hours. Futurecast on the cloud and rain loop here, showing you another area of moderate precipitation, wintry mix of sleet and snow across the Permian Basin. It transitions into some freezing rain a little bit further off to the south and southeast. We'll see one wave move in this evening, another one overnight of some snow that's going to be moving across. And then it looks like into Sunday, we're going to start to see things thin out in the afternoon hours. So some good news there, maybe even break into a little bit of sun in some locations by late in the day. So maybe that'll help things out a little bit, but the temperatures are going to stay bitterly cold, right around 20, it looks like, for most of the weekend. And forecast ice accumulations, again, we are seeing things lighten up a little bit, but still another tenth of an inch ice accumulation will be a possibility.
All right, Tom, thank you very much. And of course, you're watching us live on our stream as well as our Facebook page and YouTube channel. But we also invite you to download the First Alert 7 mobile news and weather apps. They are vital tools to have when winter weather like this strikes. They're free in the Apple App Store and Google Play. And like we always say, be sure to follow the First Alert 7 Facebook page. There are plenty of updates for you to be able to follow on there, as well as school closures and delays. We have quite a few of those that have moved into the area. I'm going to go over a few of those closings that are listed on our website. That is firstalert7.com. There are several of them, and one of the bigger ones is Idea Permian Basin campus is already deciding to close on Monday. That goes as well for a few other school districts as well. You can find those latest updates on our website, like I mentioned, firstalert7.com. A bit of an interesting update as well out of Odessa and Ector County. Ector County Judge Dustin Fawcett issuing a local state of disaster amid this winter storm. He sent a letter to Governor Greg Abbott saying that there is a potential impact of this weather for the community, and so he's asking for support by issuing a disaster declaration. It does open up more funding and is requesting also assistance as we move past this winter storm as well. But the same can be said for the city of Odessa. Mayor Cal Hendrick releasing his own disaster declaration as well within the last hour or so for the same thing, sending a letter asking for support amid this storm. Andrews as well is one of those communities who have been part of issuing disaster declarations, and several others as well, as we deal with this winter weather. Like we saw, road conditions outside continue to not look very well. Very little precipitation falling, as Tom mentioned, but those second, third rounds of precip are still coming as we get into the latter part of the afternoon as well. Let's go ahead and go out live and get a condition update right now from our meteorologist, Ethan Yost, joining us now from outside of Music City Mall, Odessa. Ethan, if you can hear me, what are you seeing out there right now?
Thank you, guys. We are standing outside of the Music City Mall here in Odessa, Texas. And I know I got a smile on my face, but it is not comfortable out here. The wind chills are really making it feel cold out here. It is cold as it is with the temperatures in the teens, but you just add that light breeze and the skin being exposed to the wind makes it feel very cold out here. We already see flurries falling out here, and also the ground is covered in white as we speak, including a frosting of ice and also a glaze of snow. We're going to continue to see that over the coming hours, and right now it is bitter cold out here, so we really suggest that you do not come outdoors at this time. If you must, dress up in layers like I am right now, and also if you must drive, again, take it slow out there. It is very slick. I actually almost fell myself out here trying to walk around. So that's the latest from here in Odessa, Texas. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Ethan, thank you very much for that update. As you saw behind him, almost not whiteout conditions, but white all over the parking lot. Those kind of not driven on very often areas are going to be the most dangerous. Even along 42nd Street on the way to work earlier today, I was surprised to see how slick it actually was. Some of the areas that have been brined are not too bad as well. But again, those conditions going to get worse. Even if the roads are okay in some areas right now, they definitely won't be in the next 12 to 16 hours or so. And we're going to keep you posted along the way, every step of the way with this winter storm. Let's go ahead and go into now Andrews. We have a team out there. First Alert 7's Rachel Fortunato has been keeping a very close eye on conditions where she is at over in the community of Andrews. Rachel joining us now there live. Rachel, what are you seeing?
Yeah, we're still here in Andrews where you can see there's snow on the ground. Snow is currently falling, just little flurries for us. Snow is scheduled to continue falling all night. We'll keep you guys updated on if those do get bigger and how covered it gets. Going back, this is the road right behind us. Haven't seen many cars on that road compared to yesterday. It's very icy, very dangerous to drive on, and many people have recognized that and are staying home. This morning during breakfast and while we were in our lobby, we did hear that a few people are asking the hotel to extend their stay a night or two because of these dangerous conditions. So we'll make sure to keep you guys updated on what's going on here at Andrews. And remember, be safe and stay warm. For First Alert 7 News, I'm Rachel Fortunato.
All right, Rachel, thank you very much. It was quite interesting. So the hotel they're staying at yesterday actually experienced a power outage. There have been sporadic power outages throughout the entire community in West Texas area, especially yesterday when that cold front pushed on through, wind gust 20, 30 miles per hour, causing a lot of those power outages. But of course, as we head into the overnight hours, we're expecting ice precipitation to be a big problem. We're expecting accumulation of 1/4 of an inch, which is quite disruptive, getting closer to that destructive state. So of course, we'll keep you posted on that as well. Heading over to Big Spring now, that's where our First Alert 7 sports team is posted up. Jensen Young, but also Wyatt Nunn joining us now from where he's staying. Wyatt, what are you seeing in Big Spring?
Hey, thanks, Matthew. Yeah, so the cold and the wind and the snow here has stayed pretty consistent since early this afternoon. when Jensen and I first started reporting at 6 a.m., the snow was sharp, it was frigid, and there was a heck of a gust. It's kind of died down over the course of the afternoon as we have reached 3 o'clock. And you're actually starting to see the impact of that with more cars on the interstate and more vehicles leaving this parking lot. It was packed when we first got up this morning, and now I'd say is about half full. And even the cars that are here, you can tell they've been driven. The windshields have been cleaned off. I mean, even us went and covered another business in town earlier today. So we've been able to drive. It's been safe, but that is not going to be the case moving forward. As you heard Tom Teefertiller say, that second wave is coming, and that's going to bring more snow and more ice. So be monitoring those conditions and make sure that if roads get too unsafe to travel on, you can find a hotel like this one that we're at to stay for the night, or at least until those conditions clear up. I'll have more for you coming up throughout this live stream, but for now, reporting live in Big Spring, Wyatt Nunn, First Alert 7 News.
Looking at the conditions behind him, definitely slick out there. We're looking now at some video from across the area. This is over at Dairy Queen. You have a few of your photos that you've sent into firstalert7.com, as well as the First Alert 7 mobile news app. You can see a lot of that ice accumulation from overnight, that freezing rain, some sleet that fell across the Permian Basin. That was just from last night. That was the round number 1. And we're already seeing such slick conditions out there. Like we mentioned, the accumulation hasn't been so great so far, but again, we're having more rounds as we get through the rest of the afternoon and into the evening hours. Back here in the First Alert 7 studio, I'm joined now by Jay Hendricks here on the desk as we continue our First Alert 7 Weather Day coverage here. Streaming services, Facebook page, YouTube channel. Thanks for joining us, of course. We're going to continue our coverage. Curious of your experience getting into work and earlier today.
I didn't have much trouble. I have a four-wheel drive vehicle, so I think that was a little easier to maneuver. There are slick spots out there, and certainly we saw a lot of those. I saw a lot of vehicles that didn't have four-wheel drive that didn't have as much luck as I did.
Right.
But not bad for me to get around. I was really kind of surprised the number of people who were out early this morning. This was probably 8:30, 9 o'clock. A lot of people were out and around, driving around. And of course, a lot more today. It seems to have, kind of calmed down a bit now, but we'll have to see how that turns overnight, because a lot of that, as they're driving, going to melt, and then could that be worse?
And because of that, we've seen so many delays, but also closures already for Monday morning. All of them are posted at firstalert7.com, so you can see them for yourself. But everyone's preemptively getting ready, because when something falls overnight, sleet, snow, ice, it's going to stick for the next few days, like Tom mentioned.
The big ones I think we've heard from at the churches, too, that are going to go online with a lot of their services. Rightfully so. They don't want their parishioners out driving around and have to get into those conditions. So I know that we've had several churches that have reached out, and I would anticipate that a lot of them will go to the online format. Again, just as a precaution.
That's a good way to do it, is, of course, keep safe, stay virtual. Odessa College, one of those. They're still offering virtual tutoring. Their Wrangler Dining Center also available as well, but many, many different closures and delays across the area. But like we said, we have a lot of people sending in pictures. We appreciate that. We want you to go to firstalert7.com. At the very top, there's an area to submit photos and videos. Right. We like seeing them. We're able to see that what you're doing at home, staying safe, staying indoors, most importantly. I think that's what we're trying to drive home, is we want you to stay home and stay safe.
Isabella Griga and I were heading in earlier. We did see a TxDOT truck that was out working on sanding over the overpasses. So they are still doing that, or putting down their brine and water to make that, to help out a little bit. I think that the more people will drive, that will kind of clear some of that off. And then, of course, what happens overnight. We did see a mix of snow. We did see a mix of sleet. So there is kind of a combination of both. Be interesting to see how much we get overnight, how that affects us. Tomorrow morning could be interesting.
Absolutely. A few stories we want to get you now. Easy Rider, they're actually going to be ceasing operations for today. The winter weather affecting their operations. According to Julie Patino, Director of Ops, due to weather conditions and out of concern for safety of their drivers and customers, they are closed today. They don't operate on Sunday, but we'll have to see about Monday. We'll have the latest on that on Wake Up West Texas that morning. Now, as far as the Ector County warming centers, those continue to be operated. The Emergency Management Center urging everyone to, of course, use them if you need to, especially tonight if the power goes out. Cold temperatures, icy conditions going to be a problem, so they're opening warming centers. One of the bigger ones, Jay, Barn A at the Coliseum.
Yeah, that's where a lot of folks are being sent from the county. That was announced by Sheriff Mike Griffiths and, of course, County Judge Dustin Fawcett. That's where they are sending folks over there. I know they had food, they had water, they had lots of donations. I think HEB took a lot of things over there last night as well, and so I'm sure that is up and operating. They had charging stations, people who needed phones. It is cold out there, and that's the thing that I don't think people realize is the temperature that it is out there, and that wind chill makes it a lot cooler.
It does. The wind chill really is what gets you the feels like temperature. We like to call it a lot of times, down to single-digit temperatures. Some locations saw sub-zero in Andrews, northern Permian Basin, where they had a lot of the snowfall. Like I mentioned earlier in their show, Sierra and Rachel, who were in Andrews, their hotel lost power for 20 minutes.
Oh, wow.
In that amount of time, it can get quite cold inside.
Well, we had a lot of power outages last night initially, right after I think people got home and started turning heaters on and things like that. Luckily, they were able to get those back up. Encore did an amazing job, and I know they've had some probably on and off throughout the day today too, but I have not heard that as being a huge thing that they've had to deal with, so that's important, and so good on them for getting back up. I know at one time Andrews had 1,000 people who were without power yesterday afternoon, but it didn't take long to get them back up.
We appreciate the linemen who were out there in these conditions. We spoke with Encore about how they're preparing, and they have been thinking about it for a long time. They always are. They use drones to survey the lines. I think it's really neat.
Yeah, and of course they were able to get out there and get it back on. So
and they
good
did,
on them.
Very, very nice. I think we have a graphic of the warming centers in Midland. Let's take a look at some of those, what we have across the screen. This is actually Odessa, which is a good point. I want to bring this up. Salvation Army of Odessa on 11th Street, open. Of course, Jesus House of Odessa, they're open as well. They feed a lot of folks there.
Right.
Great people. In Midland also, they have shelters as well, several locations, including Breaking Bread Kitchen. We spoke with them as well. Martin Luther King Jr. Community Center, Salvation Army, the Soup Kitchen, and downtown and Centennial Libraries. Both locations going to be available for those who need it. There are hours and information. Reach out to them, by the way, ahead of time, too. There's phone numbers and everything you need to know there.
Don't forget True Light Christian Fellowship up there. I don't know that you mentioned them, but they are also assisting. So a lot of folks, again, reaching out and trying to help people, keep them warm, and that's great to see them doing.
And you brought up a good point. True Light Christian Fellowship open through Monday, the shelter, 24 hours. So that's a really big shelter that they're offering, a service they're offering there in Midland. Heading to Big Spring, they have also some warming shelters available, too. This is a list. You can go to Salvation Army, 811 West 5th Street in Big Spring, the Big Spring YMCA on Owens, or La Casuelas on South Gregg Street, too. But there's also a few more. We want to talk about some closures in Big Spring that you need to know about. The landfill out there for residents is going to be closed because conditions are not optimal for them to operate. At the Comanche Trail Golf Course shut down today and tomorrow.
You probably lose your ball in the snow.
I imagine, I can imagine golfing in snow. We don't advise you going to the golf courses today. No, definitely not. And through the weekend as well. Those are just some of them. They're all posted at firstalert7.com. But Jay, also a good time to talk about our coat drive going on for those who really need it during this winter.
That's right. Of course, the Tom's Coats is going on. This is a program that we've been doing for a number of years, and we need your help because there are people out there, believe it or not, that don't have a warm coat, and all you got to do is donate. Izzy said this pretty well yesterday. She said, we've all got those coats around that we never wear. We can't hang on to them because we think we're going to wear them. We don't wear them.
I have so
Donate
many.
those if you can. And here are some of the locations. You can go to the Frost Bank locations in Odessa, Midland. You can go to Odessa College at the Salisbury Campus Center. You can also, as you see, a few of the other places that are there. Llewellyn, Pipkin, Garcia Funeral Home over in Midland. You can also bring it here by the First Alert 7 studios. These all go to the Salvation Army to be given to those who need them. And so if you have some of those laying around, or if you're out shopping, you decide to buy some new coats and donate them to us, just bring them by here if you'd like to at our studios, or go by any of these locations and donate.
We do appreciate it. Every year we gather so many different coats, and it really does go a long way, and they stay right here in our community. You know, we've received, like I mentioned, some great photos from across the area of people having fun with this. They're home with their families.
Right.
You know, they're enjoying some time together that maybe wouldn't otherwise have an opportunity to do so. But look at this, Jay. We got a picture in of someone who knitted a hat for Paisano Pete. We all know Paisano Pete. Yes.
Oh, look at that. That took a while to do because Paisano Pete is not a small statue.
Not at all. Major intersection. There's 11-foot tall road runner, Paisano Pete, of course. He's been there since 1980. So, of course, this person here, Josie, here's her name, Jay, knitted this beanie on Paisano Pete. She said it took about 3 novellas and a whole lot of love to get done.
I wonder who put it up there, too.
Yeah, that's tall.
Nice tall ladder
that's true.
Or something to get it up there. And that's either a grandchild or a child that was just holding that on there. It was tied on, and I guess it came loose, but they're holding the string down. So.
And Josie said the message is, we hope to follow Paisano Pete's example in staying warm heading into this weekend and through the early part of next week.
I saw a lot of birds that are also down low on the ground, but next to the building trying to block the wind from them, so they didn't want to be up flying, and they're kind of huddled
Too
together.
cold.
So, yeah, you
Yes.
can tell that they do know how to take care of themselves when it's cold.
Absolutely. And speaking of being home and stuck indoors all weekend, gets a little boring. But First Alert 7's Lauren Munt spoke with the Museum of the Southwest about something fun you can do with the family this weekend.
All right, the museum is closed this weekend like most other places due to these frigid temperatures. But I did talk to them about an activity that you can do inside while also staying warm. Take a look.
Hi, so we're going to show you how to make a survival of the slowest obstacle course using things that you can find at home.
For this project, you will need an empty cereal box or any cardboard structure, a rock or a small heavy object, tape, glue, and any craft materials that you can find around the house.
Anything you can be creative with. It's all about engineering and creativity.
Now, there are no rules. Just use whatever you can find to create a really cool maze.
Doesn't have to be fancy, just something quick, easy. So it flattens it out just like this. I really love this activity for being inside because it really kind of gives you the opportunity to really look around, kind of get to know your surroundings and see what you can make when you really don't have anything to make stuff. Next, what we're gonna do is you wanna kind of start building it, just like we have this example here. You take different sorts of paper. You can use like toilet paper, paper towel rolls, some tape, some yarn.
And basically then, you just start placing obstructions anywhere on the cardboard that you want.
So I'm going to start with building a wall
Okay,
to put our obstacle course in.
gotcha. I'm gonna start here making just a start line.
Now, this should keep kids busy for a while, but we don't have that kind of time. So let's make some TV magic.
So what we've gone ahead and done is we've added a little barrier here, added a little ramp here, just to kind of, add some more zhuzh to it, make it look nice.
Of course, next you need a friend to attempt your new obstacle course.
So this is JJ. He is to represent our sloth that we have here at the museum, and he is going to go through our obstacle course here. So you'll stick him through, and when you pull it along, you'll pull it along the different areas.
This activity is inspired by the museum's Survival of the Slowest exhibit.
We really wanted to talk about how things move very slow, so we built an obstacle course where you're purposely making your little creature move slowly through the obstacle course.
Now, that little creature isn't the only thing moving slow this weekend.
It's really important that children remember, not everything is super fast paced. It's okay to go slow. Sometimes slow is best.
So this weekend, slow down, stay safe, and stay inside. Reporting at the Museum of the Southwest, I'm Lauren Munt for First Alert 7 News.
All right, that's a wonderful idea. Kind of an obstacle course out of paper. Drag your own little character through it. It's a good idea because you can stay home, stay safe. That's what we're trying to, of course, drive home today.
I didn't even know they had a sloth over there.
A sloth inside the Museum of the
How about
Southwest.
that?
Pretty cool. One of their exhibits that they have. New exhibit's going to be opening soon because they had to push it because of this weekend. A lot of events had to be canceled this weekend. We know of quite a few had to be moved, had to be rescheduled. So that's kind of something that we're going to be dealing with for quite some time. We've been keeping an eye on the Storm Center Encore outage map, and really there's a few power outages. It's not very widespread right now.
Okay.
Of course, as we get through the rest of the night, that could change.
Right. We'll be keeping an eye on that. Again, kudos to Encore. We had quite a few yesterday, and they were able to get those back up really with pretty good time. I don't even know if they were even down 30 minutes to an hour, but they were able to get them all back up.
That's true. Yeah, it's good to have that. Of course, thank you so much for joining us for our continued coverage here on First Alert 7, our Weather Day coverage. We have teams scattered across the Permian Basin. We have our sports team, Jensen Young, Wyatt Nunn, over in Big Spring, and Rachel Fortunato and Sierra up in Andrews.
That's right. Keeping an eye on things there. Of course, Andrews had kind of the way this was moving, they were getting it long before we did. Big Spring, of course, saw another place that saw a lot of that early on yesterday, too. So good to have them there and to show those. And they had very few problems, which was good.
Absolutely. And we also spoke with Odessa Police about how they're prepared, how they were preparing for the storm and how they're handling heading into this weekend. You spoke with Corporal.
Yes, Corporal Steve LaSwear, and he talked a lot about their big concern of the roads out there. You know, obviously when people are out driving around, it may not look as bad, but some of those overpasses especially, that's where they run into problems.
Let's take a listen.
All right, I'm joined now by Corporal Steve LaSuere, Odessa Police Department. Of course, freezing temperatures already here. That's the big problem. I know y'all are always called out for wrecks, whether it's just rainy or whatever, but it's the ice that's a big problem.
Yeah, exactly. Like I mentioned, icy roads is really the most dangerous thing. Pretty much, you just have to reduce your speed. Keep your distance between your vehicle and the vehicle that's in front of you. As far as my experience in being here at OPD, it seems like the most dangerous areas are the I-20,
Sure.
Highway 191, places like that where you have the overpasses and the bridges. You just have to be so careful.
You mentioned also out in West Odessa, there's a lot of that too.
Yeah, Southwest, where they have extra, they seem to have more bridges. It just seems to be more, ice forms right there, and it just catches people off guard. And really, the best thing is just, really try to avoid, traveling on the I-20 or 191 if possible.
Yeah, we've noticed a lot of water too, and we've gotten some puddles out there. That's a big concern too.
Right. Oh yeah, definitely, because it can go from having no crashes on the I-20 for 1 second. Next thing you know, we have 3 crashes, all back to back, and at some point, sometimes it's just more effective to just stay off of it. It's just better to just take the service road or take an alternative route.
Okay, sometimes you also get calls about people who need help, need assistance, so they can't stay warm or they're out in the elements. You guys, I know the county has a plan. Do y'all have a plan also?
Yeah, so we partner with the Salvation Army. If it's a Czech welfare call, we respond to those quite a bit, especially in this type of weather. If you do see someone that is out, in the cold weather and you are concerned about them, please give us a call. You have nothing to lose. Call that non-emergency line, the 432-333-3641. Of course, if you think that they're deceased or and it's emergency, then call 911. But call it in as a Czech welfare, and we will respond and we will take over from there.
Do you put extra officers out when it's like this?
Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. It just depends. We kind of monitor it. So really, we're anticipating it to get I think bad, tomorrow night, especially into Sunday and of course Monday as well.
Okay. And I know that, again, the big concern with those areas where there is water already, that's going to be the concern, especially now that temperatures have dropped.
Yeah, exactly. Like you mentioned, the flooding. The flooding is also something you have to watch out for. So just try to avoid going. If you see, if you see possible flooding, just turn around. It's not worth it.
Would you rather them call 911 or the main number at the depending on what it is, but let's check welfare. Would you want them to call 911?
No, for the Czech welfare, you can just call the non-emergency line unless it is a life or death situation.
Obviously, if you see something happening, a crash or something, you want to call that 911.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you're concerned about their status, if you don't really know, definitely call that 911. But really, the bottom line is that you just have to slow down and just plan ahead. One of the most important things is keep that distance between your vehicle and the vehicle in front of you, because we see it time and time again. I think one year we had several dozen crashes. I don't know if it was 80 or 90 or whatever it was, but it was a ridiculous amount within a very short period of time. So
all right,
we've seen it happen.
Please be careful if you're out there driving around. Steve, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
All right, that was Jay Hendricks with Corporal Steve LaSuere.
Yesterday,
talking about the importance of being safe out on the roads.
Well, and it was important because they do go out and check roads. He mentioned that a lot of times they'll just go around and drive just to make sure conditions are good, and if they're not, then they'll certainly reach out to all of us so that we can pass that information on to you.
And that's why we're here, along with Chief Meteorologist Tom Teever-Taylor, with a road right behind him that looks pretty slick, Tom.
Yeah, this is a Grandview here at 42nd is what we're looking at. You can see the snowflakes coming down. It is kind of slick. We're seeing some traffic inch along every now and then, but if you're going to be out and about, again, it's not recommended. Drive slow, drive safe. Those intersections get a little slick. Again, this is going to continue to be an issue as we're expecting another 1 to 2 inches of snow possibility across parts of the Permian Basin. Live radar right now showing you that we are dealing with areas of light snow continuing to move across parts of the Permian Basin. It kind of transitions to sleet and then some freezing rain down here. You get into the southern part of the Trans-Pecos and into the mountain areas. That's where we're expecting some ice accumulation here over the next few hours as this batch of zoom in and show you that we are seeing the snow again creep in across parts of the Permian Basin. It picks up a little bit more across portions of Andrews County, back into Lee County, New Mexico at the present time. That's where we'll see the higher accumulations. Those temperatures out there, they are ridiculously cold. And seeing those readings drop down, 12 in Big Spring, 14 across the Midland, Odessa area. But if that wasn't enough, you add in the wind, and the wind chill values are down near 0 to 4 below now in Big Spring, 1 below in Lamesa. A balmy 1 out at the Midland International Air and Spaceport, and you can see it's not as bad. The wind and the cold air is not as bad, but still bitterly cold across the Trans-Pecos with readings into the teens this afternoon. Temperatures out there across the country, we're seeing the Arctic air really slump down across the eastern half of the U.S. You can see Amarillo at 5 degrees, so we just got this cold core of Arctic air really moving across and down to the south and southeast. Winter storm warnings remain in effect. Expecting more accumulations, maybe 1 to 3 of snow, 1 to 3 inch accumulations of snow across parts of the Permian Basin. Maybe a little higher over towards Guadalupe Mountains National Park. You get into the southern Permian Basin, Trans-Pecos sleet, and then it changes over to some freezing rain where it's a little bit milder here across portions of the mountain areas, and that could cause some up to 1/10 of an inch ice accumulations. And again, the extreme cold is something we're dealing with right now as those wind chill values are into negative territory. So an extreme cold warning remains in effect until noontime on Monday, as we're expecting temperatures to stay bitterly cold through then. Good to stay in, stay off the roads, dealing with the cold. And then cold weather advisories for temperatures. Again, wind chill values down near 0, even across the mountain areas down towards Big Bend all the way through the noontime hour on Monday. We're going to see successive waves of wintry precipitation move across, mostly snow across parts of the Permian Basin into the overnight hours and early tomorrow. Before we start to see things start to clear out after about 12 noon, it looks like we'll see things thin out snow-wise across the area, but remain cold and roads will remain slick, as we will be dealing with that again over the next 24 hours, and then plenty of clouds on the way hanging across into Monday, and that's going to keep temperatures down. Forecast snow accumulations, again, they're going to be heaviest across parts of the northern Permian Basin into southeast of Mexico over towards the Guadalupes, but we could see some scattered 1-inch amounts even across the Permian Basin into the Trans-Pecos coming up here over the next 24 hours. And again, here's how it lines up on the wintry precipitation types. You have to have a little warm nose that melts the cold snow, and that causes rain. But it's when you have that cold air and warm air in between the cold air at the ground levels where you get the freezing rain. Again, sleet starts to form up when you have less in the way of warm air, and when it's all cold, it's all snow from the cloud down to the ground. So that's what we're going to be dealing with here, more wintry precipitation over the next 24 hours.
All right, we're taking a look now at the Storm Center Encore outage map right now. And as we look closer, Jay, we see a few scattered outages.
Yeah, it looks like there's a few. My eyes aren't as good as yours. This is West Odessa, so there's it has what,
a couple
2 there?
A couple there.
You know, this was like this. There were some large ones at one point. I know there were some in Odessa that were having a lot of problems since yesterday. I wonder if that's back up. It was
looks like just a couple. There's 24 on the north side.
Okay,
still without power, and that was reported. Gosh, that yesterday was the 20? That's today. Okay, so to this afternoon, it was reported at 12:53. They're hoping to get up at 7:30. So you're seeing a lot of these restoration times. Those are estimated. That's as crews can get to these outages. We're still seeing large outages in the far southeastern portions of Midland County, way out there. This is going to be off of Highway 158 towards, it's actually in Garden City, excuse me. This is in Glasscock County. 120 customers without power, attributed to the weather, actually, this one says.
Yeah, they may have some lines that are down, or maybe they hit it through a breaker or something.
It's hard to say.
Yeah, it's hard to say, but they do get on these pretty quickly. You know, again, yesterday we had quite a few that popped up. I think Midland had 3,500 at one point, but boy, it didn't take them long to get them all back up. So they're, again, I wouldn't want to be out in this weather trying to restore all that power.
We appreciate the linemen Encore telling us just days ago that they were prepared and are prepared for this. And so, of course, as outages happen, they're going to get to it as quickly as possible. Be sure and report those outages, too, very fast to Encore. And you can see this map for yourself at home by going to stormcenter.encore.com. But why don't we get a condition update now from Odessa?
Okay.
Meteorologist Ethan Yost is out.
Outside, literally.
Outside, literally in the cold. Joining us now from outside Music City Mall's north parking lot. Ethan, it looks very cold out there. What are you still seeing?
Thanks, guys. Yeah, we are outside once again of Music City Mall here in Odessa, Texas, where we are seeing bitter cold temperatures, icing on the ground, and also plenty of snow starting to develop out here. We're just looking at some light flurries out here across Odessa. But again, even with just a light glaze on the ground of ice, it is enough for slick spots. And believe it or not, we actually got some reports earlier this morning of some individuals ice skating in some back roads in their neighborhood. So it's enough to actually ice skate on. So that would also be enough for those roads to be slippery for driving conditions. So again, make sure you're taking it slow if you must drive, but we do again recommend that you do not do that. And combine that with the bitter cold, and it is going to be imperative that you're again putting on plenty of layers throughout the afternoon, especially into the evening, with overnight lows, as Tom said, dropping down into single digit and even negative territory for those wind chills, because this wind out here on exposed skin makes it very cold. But again, we have a nice glazing of white all across the ground here. We've already seen snow plows moving through the parking lot as we were standing out here. They are already on it, trying to get things cleared up. But overall, we're going to continue to see this over the next couple days. For First Alert 7 News, I'm meteorologist Ethan Yost.
Right. Ethan, thanks very much. And as you see, that snow is beginning to fall a little bit more and more. Overnight will be interesting to see how much we get.
I had to defrost my truck for an hour almost this morning because of how the ice has stuck to the windshield, and that was just from last night. We're expecting more rounds, like Tom mentioned, heading into this afternoon for today. So that is going to be a continual issue as we go through the rest of the evening hours. Like we talked about earlier in our cut in here, where their warming shelters are available for those in need when power outages do happen. And we're expecting them to happen with a 1/4 inch possible of accumulation of ice. That is very likely heading into the overnight hours.
And then possibly snow overnight, too, on top of that. So, again, once that snow covers that, you still got that ice below that's going to stay there for a while. So, again, driving is going to be an issue probably the next couple of days until we can get some sun back out there to get that thawed out. I had problems, too. Interesting, one thing you don't think about, with these colder temperatures like we've had, the garage door will get ice in between
That's
each
a
of
good
those.
point,
And
yes.
so it sometimes can cause problems opening up your garage door. I had that last night and again this morning, and that's just related to the weather. So something to think about, and I've talked to a few others that all have agreed and had the same kind of issue.
Now, I do want to show you, if we can bring up the computer system that we have to show you the map outside of drivetexas.org. It's a website that you can check out at home where you can keep up with road conditions. All of those gray dots are slick conditions.
Slick conditions.
Isn't that shows you where this storm has been centered? Essentially, I-10 and north, it's not good. And also pretty much anywhere around I-35 over North Texas been slammed by this weather, even more so than what we're seeing.
You know, another thing is a lot of delays. What was it? Thousands of flight delays today and cancellations because of this same weather that's hit a big part of not just us, but the country as well.
Very right about that. Let's zoom into some of our major corridors between Midland and Odessa. We're looking at Interstate 20, which of course is not going to be in great condition right now. We're looking at ice and snow reported along the interstate, and that was reported last night. So that's been going on for quite some time, obviously. They're reporting it on the bridges and overpasses, especially. That's something we always warn you about, the double freezing that can occur on an overpass as well.
This was in our area.
In our area, this is on Interstate 20,
Yeah.
looking over at Highway 191, another major corridor between the city. Very similar situation there.
Steve said yesterday when talking with him, he said avoid those areas, I-20. Don't get on 191 because those bridges, you don't think about that, but as you get on top of those bridges, they're elevated, and so they tend to freeze. And so he was recommending people stay off that. Obviously, that's the same you're saying with I-20 because it's been that way continuous.
Absolutely, and that's what we want to keep you an eye on this. So again, you can go to drivetexas.org to be able to keep up with any of that, the changing road conditions. And we're going to, of course, have our crews out live. They'll be joining us here shortly with another update about what we can expect. Speaking of, you can download the First Alert 7 mobile news and weather apps. Both of them are free in the Apple App Store and Google Play. We're also asking you to download the First Alert 7 app on your connected TV or connected device, where you can stream us live at any time, 24/7, and especially right now during this winter weather coverage.
Yeah, we're going to keep you up to date until this is all over with. Ongoing still, and will probably be ongoing for the next couple of days, so you'll want to tune into that periodically. And we'll, of course, push out notifications when we get updates. closures, things like that. You can always check closures on our website. You can also go into that weather app if you haven't. You can go in and look at the radar yourself and see what's coming up. And it has features where you can play it and see how it moves and see what's coming and give you an idea at least. Of course, keep it right here. We'll keep you up to date.
That's what we're here for, keeping you up to date as we continue to move through the rest of the afternoon. Why don't we go out live for a condition update? We have our First Alert 7 sports team out in Big Spring up I-20. Some of the harder hits part of town and will be through the rest of the afternoon. First Alert 7 Sports Wyatt Nunn joining us now live from out there with what we can expect through the rest of the afternoon and evening, and also what he's seeing outside of where he's staying currently, which is quite a lot of ice, quite a lot of snow through the rest of the day. Wyatt, what are you seeing?
Hey y'all, yeah, so I just checked in with you about 30 minutes ago, and in the time since, the snow has definitely picked up. We're starting to see more of a speed as to what we saw this morning when we first hopped on the show at 6. This is that second wind that the First Alert 7 meteorology team has been talking about. It's definitely getting a little cooler as well. That's going to increase more as the sunset occurs over these next few hours. And it's being reflected in our surroundings as well. The parking lot is beginning to fill up once again, meaning that cars are coming off the road. I have seen less traffic coming off of I-20. So there are signs that the conditions are going to grow more severe with time. One positive note to add, however, is I just checked Encore before the hit, and it does appear that all of the 100+ power outages that had affected Big Spring early in the day have been solved. So unless the website has had an update or an error, it appears that we are at 100% lights on in Howard County. So if that changes, I will get back to you later in the live stream. But for now, reporting live in Big Spring, Wyatt Nunn, First Alert 7 News.
Wyatt, thank you very much. Going back to the Drive Texas map with what we can expect on road conditions, some of the major highways are already seeing very slick conditions moving between both cities right now. We're expecting them to, of course, worsen as we get through the rest of the night and move into the evening hours as well. You can see this map for yourself by going to drivetexas.org. It's a great resource to have put on by State Resources where you can see conditions, you can see traffic cameras and some of the other items as well. And as we move through the rest of the area, you can start to see a lot of the conditions not looking great. As we go towards Big Spring, where we just came from, along Interstate 20, which goes right through Big Spring, we're seeing the conditions very slick as well with ice and snow on the roadways, and that's going to continue to be the case as we move through the rest of the afternoon and evening hours as well. Now, of course, also we're keeping an eye on conditions locally with a lot of delays and cancellations expected to be the case through Monday as well. But also you can find them at firstalert7.com. We'll actually head over to the website now. We have a computer pulled up. Why don't we go there now so you can see exactly where you're to go. Type in firstalert7.com, and right at the top of your page is closings and delays. Yeah, and then winter storm warning that is still in effect as well. We're going to take a look now. If we click on the tab,
Governor
there is
Abbott
some
has
of the
endorsed
closures
our
and
campaign
delays. You
for
can see some of the
comptroller
churches,
because
organizations who have reached out to us telling us that they are going to be delayed or closed. You can see several have already preemptively closed their campuses for Monday. That includes a big one, Midland ISD, who has decided to close campuses for Monday in an abundance of caution because of slick road conditions as well. But also the city of Odessa preparing and also making a big announcement earlier this afternoon in regards to a disaster declaration. Joining us now live in studio is Odessa Mayor Cal Hendrick, who explains what's going on and how the process has been. And we appreciate you joining us live here on First Alert 7.
Thank you, Jay and Matthew. Obviously, this weather is catastrophically dangerous, right? What we're worried about really is the cold temperatures, but also the moisture. Moisture has a tendency to get on tree limbs, freeze, break, and then break power lines. So power outage is one of our number one concerns. People don't have heating in their house. It's critically dangerous. So we declared a declaration of emergency, and the reason is to, number one, recognize the dangerous conditions that exist right now. We want everyone in the Permian Basin to realize and understand. We want you staying at home. Please take care of yourself, your family, your pets. It's terrible conditions. We're not used to them in West Texas, so it really causes us a lot of concern. Most importantly, if we need to, we declared the disaster or emergency declaration so we can access funding quickly if we need to, state and federal funding. That's critical in these times if something happens. Also, resource deployment and emergency powers are something that we can quickly access if we need an evacuation or someone needs help. We can access those things very quickly. Regulatory suspension. There are certain regulations that speed up debris removal, repairs, emergency procurement, anything we need. That's why this is so important. It helps us activate emergency plans. It helps us be ready if there is a real, truly disaster. Right now, we're just very concerned. We want everyone to stay off the roads.
Yeah.
I drove this morning. It was bad. It's worse now.
Yeah, you drove just now, so what's it like now?
So, where there's roads that have had some traffic, it's not horrible, except here's what's going to happen. Here's what I'm worried about. It's snowing right now. I had to use my windshield wiper continuously because of the snow. That stuff's going to freeze overnight. We're going to have incredibly cold temperatures, and that's going to create black ice conditions.
Sure.
And that's going to be so dangerous. I really hope every church takes into account the conditions and maybe try to do remote broadcasting tomorrow through Facebook, through whatever means, TV, whatever they have available, and try to keep those folks at home because it is going to be treacherous in the morning.
Yeah, we've had a lot that already started that. So
yes,
yeah.
I think it's just one of those times. I hate to say cancel church, and I'm not saying cancel it, but try to do something remotely.
Sure.
Because we don't want our seniors drive. We don't want inexperienced drivers. If the snow and ice is something we do not experience. I don't remember a single time last year. In fact, last time I remember these kind of conditions was Stormageddon, back in 2021. And so we just don't practice that kind of drive. We don't have the equipment or tools. We have, the city and the county both have sand and salt trucks out. We just don't have enough for all the roads. We don't have, the snow plows. We just don't have the equipment necessary because we just don't experience it often enough. But the main thing we're worried about really is people losing power outages. And that's going to create, you can't stay in your house when it's, at least according to this morning it was -5 wind chill. Temperatures I think were 18 or something, but it was -5 wind chill. So we're concerned about that. It's going to be so cold that we just are worried about snow accumulation, ice accumulation on trees, breaks power lines, and then it's a disaster. So Encore's on call. We have all of our partners. We have been on the phone for the last 4 days preparing. We have warming shelters, obviously at the Coliseum, and I haven't got a report yet. We've been almost constantly in contact with Ector County Judge Dustin Fawcett, with Red Cross, with Salvation Army.
Yeah.
Everyone's paying attention. Everyone knows these conditions exist. We're just hoping and praying that it'll affect people to a minimal degree, but we have to be ready. That's the key to life, is being prepared, which is why we issued the declaration.
Right.
It's a good point, of course, is like you mentioned, the temperatures are what's really, we always talk about the feels like temperature. That's what you should dress for. That's what you should prepare for. But of course, City of Odessa has been keeping an eye on this storm for over a week now. We've been kind of keeping our eye on it here on First Alert 7. What has the preparation been like, and has that paid off for you and your city?
Yes, we have, first responders, and this is a big shout out to all first responders, whether it be fire and rescue, police, sheriff's department. Everyone's out there ready to go. They're giving rides if anybody needs them to and from work. They're here to go help someone if it's needed. But we've had our crews prepared. We have all the sand and salt prepared for our trucks. It's really just a problem of we just don't have enough resources.
Sure. Yes.
That's it. We just don't have it. It's just these you can plan for the worst, but you don't know how long it's going to last. Unfortunately, it's going to be 3 really, really bad days. Now, this is not like Stormageddon. It's not going to be a 2-week affair, but it's going to be temperatures brutally cold, wind chills in the negatives. The accumulation of moisture is what the concern is. So the crews have been prepared, both management at the city and the county, by the way. Our first responders ready to go. We've been in touch with the hospitals, everyone. I want to get a big shout out to all those guys who are working today and we're working all through the weekend to make sure we keep our citizens safe and out of harm's way. So the crews have been preparing for this. They're ready to go. It's just a function of we have 55,000 miles of roads in Ector County in the city, and you can't salt them all. You just don't have the resources for that.
And we saw those trucks out just a little bit ago on the way in. They were literally still out there doing that. A lot of people were in here too, and I know the mall has now shut down a lot of their stores, so folks are heading home, which is probably the smart thing. The girl at one restaurant we stopped at was there by herself, and she said she was getting ready to leave and go home because there weren't a whole lot of people, but
it's too cold.
She had to come in and work, and then she was going to go home and get out of it. So a lot of people are understanding that it is going to get worse.
That's right. This is the day, really and truly, to make a big pot of chili or stew. Just eat it for 3 days, but stay at home, be safe, don't drive unless you absolutely have to. Even then, take plenty of time, go slow, don't slam on your brakes, don't accelerate quickly. Be careful of other drivers because everyone's may not be as careful as you are. So we just a time we all need to take extra precautions to be safe. Be sure and take blankets in your car, coats, gloves, warm hat, just in case you would get stranded until we could get first responders there. We just don't want anything. We don't want anyone in a position that they're going to be put in harm's way.
Absolutely. And you, in turn, putting first responders in harm's way and things like that, of course. Something to keep in mind as we head through the weekend into early next week. Luckily, school districts responding already to this.
That's right. I think everyone has been on, there's a giant text going on with everyone in Ector County, in the city of Odessa, all our first responders, all of our organizations that provide assistance. So we literally were getting 10 and 15-minute updates on what's going on. We need some heaters at the warming shelter. Man, there's been 50 texts going back and forth about getting some additional heaters out there at the Barn A. And so we're going to continue this communication stream to keep everyone that we can prepared and ready. And hopefully we don't ever need all of it, but if you do, we're going to be prepared.
Yeah, and I had, by the way, just got a text a minute ago. I'll share with you when we get off here. Someone that's going to need a heater, so I'll help you with that. We'll get that and get them taken care of. A lot of people, if they have those concerns, they probably need to reach out. And who do they reach out to if they need assistance?
Well, so I guess it depends on the nature of the assistance. Again, if you're on the roads, the sheriff or police are prepared to give anyone assistance getting home, getting off the roads. We have a handout sheet that we sent out on Friday. All the numbers to call if you need assistance. For example, a heater. There's people that are prepared and ready to provide that assistance. Okay. And so it's really there, and I'll be sure and post it on Facebook, and I'll send it to you guys if you don't have it. But there's a set of numbers to call for each emergency, each type of emergency. Mm-hmm. And so you can always start with the police, though, because police and fire, they know where to send you. They're really properly. The sheriff department, they're ready. All their folks are lined up and ready to give any assistance that's required by our citizens.
Well, I do have one person going to need a heater, so I'll get with you so we can get that. Obviously, County 2, you want to the shelter set up over at the Coliseum. That's working out well?
That's correct. I asked for a report, and as I sit here looking, I'm going to see if I got another report. Right now, we don't have we have 55 at the Salvation Army and about 20 at the Barn A. So we have plenty of room.
Good.
Both places, plenty of room. Obviously, food, water, and the shelter. Main thing's the heat. Keep everybody warm. Keep everybody from being exposed to these kind of. Again, they're catastrophic temperatures. From our perspective, we're not used to negative temperatures.
Not at all. Not even close.
That's right. And so it's a function of. You might not even have a coat that's registered to go down that low. I had to pull out one of my hunting coats and like, wow, I think I've worn it once in my entire life. I've owned it.
Now two.
It just doesn't get that cold in West Texas.
It doesn't. No, not normally at least, but at least we're here giving an update. Mayor, we appreciate you coming in and talking to the viewers today directly about this, the disaster declaration as well, and also how significant that is.
That's right. Again, the key to life is, are we really in an emergency right now? Well, maybe not, but we're just one power outage away from being in one, and we can't wait. We don't want to be having to then prepare it, get it filed. No, we're ready. It's on file. Yeah. If we need to, we can make the phone call to the state, to federal, and we get assistance again to funding, to anything we need now. It gives us the ability to do almost anything to protect our citizens.
But you've also got the people on standby ready to do this here in our backyard.
They're literally a text away, and so we can get them there literally in minutes, if not seconds, depending on the location.
Good.
Great coordination between all agencies here serving the community. We appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank y'all very much.
And of course, we're continuing our coverage live here on First Alert 7. We just wrapped up a nice conversation with Mayor Cal Hendrick, who graciously came to join us here on the desk on this very cold day. We want to head also north on Highway 385 towards Andrews. That's where First Alert 7's Sierra Burnett and Rachel Fortunato have been keeping a close eye on conditions where they are. She joins us now live via our phone. Rachel, what are you seeing and how's it looking out there?
Yes, we're joining you back in Andrews right now. We can see there is about an inch of snow that's standing on the ground. Currently, there's a little bit of sleet falling. I don't know if you guys can see that. I want to show you really quick. This is one of our First Alert 7 News cars. This car has been sitting here since lately, about 2 o'clock yesterday. You can see the whole front is completely covered by snow. So that's good representation of what's been falling, what we've been dealing with. All the way back here in the back of our car, this window is full ice, and we have icicles everywhere, so we've been getting a lot of good cold weather. So we have seen a few people come into the hotel recently, trying to get shelter from this cold weather. We have seen people trying to extend their stay, so a lot of people are staying put, trying to find that warm weather. We do see a few cars still on the street, but thankfully they are driving very slowly. And remember, it's always better just to stay inside if you do not have to drive anywhere. We'll be back later with some more updates from Andrews. For First Light 7 News, I'm Rachel Fortunato.
And of course, these are the delays and closures that we're seeing right now. A lot of them closures preemptively for Monday. I do remind you, we are streaming live right now on our platforms, Facebook Live included in this. And so we are taking your questions. If you have any questions, we can answer them. You're talking to us directly. I'm watching the comment section. A lot of them saying, Deborah right now saying thank you to our first responders. Stay safe. And that's, of course, the big message here is for everyone to stay safe. And in order for you to stay safe, of course, our first responders need to stay safe too. So keep them out of a dangerous situation by staying home, staying indoors. Scarlett sharing that she's cuddled up on the couch with her dog, safe and sound. That sounds really nice right about right now. Sounds really nice and warm, of course. But you can check out this website right here on your screen, firstalert7.com. But we also want to go back to drivetexas.org. Again, this is all the conditions that we have from across the area. A lot of the major highways and intersections a part of this. Interstate 20, of course, ice and snow on the roadways. That has been a problem for quite some time now, along with Business 20 as well. Condition updates here. Really across the board, you're seeing that ice and snow accumulations. Not a lot right now, of course, but it's still making slick spots, especially on bridges and overpasses. But this website is free for you to use and access any traffic cameras that we have here across the state provided by TxDOT. And also we want to check the Encore Storm Center outage map as well, getting a thorough look at everything. Right now, not seeing too many power outages across the city. West Odessa experiencing right now just about 7 customers without power. Still 7 too many, as we say. Those are folks who are going to be in the cold. So this is not a good idea. Of course, if you do have a power outage, report that to Encore immediately. The current restoration time for this is looking by about 8:30, but it's just going to depend on the situation and what has caused the outage as well. On the north side of Odessa, we're looking at about 24 customers impacted by an outage that was reported just before 1 o'clock this afternoon. Not expected to come back until 8 p.m., so that's a good 7 hours in the dark, in the cold, and that's plenty of time for a home to lose all of that heating. So we're expecting Encore to get on that. Of course, they are repairing it immediately according to status updates on this outage map. Again, you can access this by going to stormcenter.encore.com. But why don't we head over to the First Alert 7 Weather Center with Chief Meteorologist Tom Teefer-Teller, who is standing by now with an update on what to expect outside and what's currently falling over West Texas. Tom?
We have snow across West Texas right now. I want to get everybody up to date. Talking about road conditions, US 62 180 from Hobbs all the way to El Paso is closed to traffic, and also State Highway 54 between Guadalupe Mountains National Park and Van Horn has been closed as we're seeing successive waves of snow, sleet, and even some freezing rain down across portions of the lower Trans-Pecos into the mountain areas. Continue to move across. There's a disturbance back to the west that's going to continue to keep this in our forecast, and we could be looking at some light accumulations associated with that. As you can see, the snow line gradually drifting off to the south and southeast, so it is covering most of the Big Spring, Midland, Odessa area. Stanton, Andrews, all included in that. We're seeing some banding in a few spots, especially here across parts of the northern Andrews County into the northern Permian Basin, where we could be looking at, again, some heavier amounts in a few spots. Again, 1 to 3 inches accumulations is what we are going to be expecting, but the worst of it's going to be down towards the mountain areas. That's where we're expecting the freezing rain. You can see the snow coming down. This is our live iCam in Odessa right now with the roads rather slick looking, as we're seeing some snow accumulate on some of the area roads right now, and that'll continue to be the case as we move through the evening hours as temperatures bitterly cold out there. I'm going to show you the wide expanse of that, and temperatures around 14 to 15 degrees across most areas. Add in the wind, and we're seeing wind chill values down -1 to 1 above, 3 below in Big Spring. It's right at 2 out at the Midland International Air and Spaceport. So bitterly cold conditions into the teens across the Trans-Pecos at the present time as that Arctic air is slumping down across portions of the country. It's 5 in Amarillo right now, so we're getting in on some of the coldest stuff right here across West Texas as that Arctic air continues to spill into the area. Now, winter storm warnings remain in effect and will continue till noontime on Sunday for the possibility of up to 1 to 3 inches of snow. We could see 6-inch snow amounts in the Guadalupe Mountains. Also some accumulations of sleet A possibility across the southern Permian Basin into the Trans-Pecos and then into the mountain areas is where we could be looking at some ice accumulations of freezing rain. Up to 1/10 of an inch additional accumulations will be a possibility as we are dealing with extreme cold warnings. Those go until Monday as we're expecting temperatures to stay sub-freezing all the way through Monday, it looks like, and those wind chill values between 0 to 5 below is what we're going to be looking at here over the next 24 hours or so, especially in those morning hours as temperatures might settle into single digits first thing in the morning. Cold weather advisories across the mountain areas is what we're going to be looking at in the futurecast. Well, it shows successive waves of snow, sleet, and freezing rain continuing to move across the area and off to the north and northeast. It looks like another round coming in overnight tonight, early into the morning hours. We're going to see that before we see things improve a little bit. By noontime tomorrow, we're going to start to clear out as this whole disturbance clears out and off to the east. So improving weather conditions. We're going to hang on to some clouds, though. And what has fallen in the way of snow, freezing rain, sleet, is going to keep the ground cold. It's going to keep temperatures cold and sub-freezing, it looks like, all the way through the noontime hours on Monday. Snow amounts, we're looking at those around 1 inch plus, and of some locations it may be heavier across the northern Permian Basin in southeast New Mexico, so we still have a long way to go with this. Again, successive waves of wintry precipitation are going to continue through the overnight hours.
All right, Tom, thank you very much. Of course, we're keeping an eye on delays and closures happening through the weekend. You can find those at firstalert7.com. But let's go ahead and get an update now outside live in Odessa, where meteorologist Ethan Yost is keeping a close eye on conditions there. Ethan, good afternoon. What are you seeing?
Yeah, thanks, guys. We're outside of Music City Mall once again here in Odessa, Texas. And yes, just like we've been saying, it is very cold out here. And the update from this time frame is it's just gotten windier and the snow is coming down a little harder now. You can probably see that from in the background here, just very small flakes. But as over time with those very freezing ground temperatures, it's going to stick very easily. We'll likely see accumulations throughout the night tonight. I'm out here to tell you how cold it is so you don't have to be outside and feel it, because it is shivering, it's slippery, and also those roads are slippery with all the ice accumulation we've already gotten. Some areas have already seen up to 1/10 of an inch of ice out there, and that's enough to cause disruptions. And so we are out here feeling the cold for you, so you don't have to be out here. It is dangerous, so if you must be outside, again, add those extra layers, put on a glove, not like me here, and also put on a hat because it's bitter cold out there. Just 15 to 30 minutes out here on bare skin can lead to frostbite. So again, dangerous cold throughout the weekend, and we'll continue to see that in the beginning part of next week. For First Alert 7 News, I'm meteorologist Ethan Yost.
All right, Ethan, thank you very much. We're joined now by Ector County Sheriff Mike Griffiths live here on First Alert 7.
Yeah, have you been out and about? I know various times throughout the day. What's it looking like?
It's not as bad as it looks, but it's bad. I mean, as long as people don't get real stupid, they should be able to stop and take off. But you kind of got to think about it as a trying to stop an airplane
Right.
in midair. You got to leave yourself plenty of room to stop. Intersections or before you hit the car in front of you, leave plenty of room before you get to the car in front of you in case the car behind you's approaching and you need to get out of the way. But it's not as bad as I suspected, and hopefully we'll just have snow, dry snow, and it won't get too wet.
Now, you've been out and about early this morning, I know, driving around talking to people. County seems to be okay. You haven't had any out-of-the-control issues?
I think we had a crash early this morning. Other than that, we've had a few cars, slide off the roadway. Knock on wood, thank God. We've certainly been blessed in that respect. But again, this morning the traffic was very, very light.
Right,
So there
right.
wasn't many people out. So
But now people are starting to get
people
out.
are starting to get out, and well, there's more people here at the mall. Probably 10 times more people here at the mall than there was at 10 o'clock this morning. So, they're just getting out and about now.
Yeah, you don't want to get too comfortable like we talked about. The conditions still are slick and could get worse heading into tomorrow. Something also we're focusing on is these bitterly cold temperatures outside. On our screen right now, 15 degrees. Going to get colder, especially overnight. But that's why Ector County, you've teamed up for a warming shelter at the Coliseum.
Absolutely. And apparently you can get frostbite in these temperatures.
Sure.
I think it's -1 right now.
Wind chill.
And you can get frostbite very easily. We do have warming shelter at Barnett and at Ector County Coliseum. If anybody needs to get there. If they can't get themselves, we'll go pick them up. 335-3535, we'll take them there. It's a warm spot, and we've got food and snacks and all that good stuff there. So
It's wonderful.
All right, remind that again, 335-3535.
3535, 335-3535.
Non-emergency number there.
Non-emergency number.
Okay.
Just call us, say you need a ride to the warming shelter, we'll pick you up. We won't even make you wear bracelets.
Has that been utilized quite a bit? Have you seen a lot of people?
We've got 10 out there right
10
now.
out there right now.
Okay.
Yep.
And of course, Salvation Army's also doing it.
They've got 55 right now.
55 right now. Okay.
So quite a bit of usage.
Yes, absolutely. We absolutely do not want to have to go to someone's house because they froze to death, and please take advantage of it if you need it. We want to help you. We don't want you to freeze. We don't want you to be cold.
Sure.
Just call us, and we'll take you out there, and then when it gets warmer, we'll take you back.
Yeah.
Whatever.
That's wonderful. That's a good service to have. Of course, that is 335-3535, the Ector County Sheriff's Office non-emergency number. Now, Sheriff, you've been in coordination and talking to the county officials, Ector County Judge Dustin Fawcett. You put out that video with him about this very topic,
Yes.
but he put out a few hours ago a declaration, an emergency declaration, disaster, asking for state resources, of course. What is your take on that?
Well, and apparently there's some heat issues in some places that they're going to try to reach out and try to get some funds, state funds available for some equipment.
To help that, yeah.
To help that issue. We're going to be okay through this cold spell now, but if something were to happen later on, we want to be more prepared than we are now. You know, 2021 taught us a lot of things.
Yeah, it did.
Yes, it did.
And we this time, that's why we're doing all this time, because we don't want all the trouble we had last time.
Yeah, and Cal mentioned this too. We don't have a lot of the resources that larger cities that deal with this regularly.
Absolutely.
We don't see this regularly.
Absolutely. It's, you know, we're a warm weather region.
Right.
Yes.
That's why we all live here. And,
That's right.
And you know, but, you know, we can't ever predict the weather. Only Tom can do that. So we have to depend on Tom to tell us what we need to do.
And he told us it's going to be cold. So if you weren't listening to him, that's on you, because he's told us this for about a week now. And so here we are. And of course, the big question will be overnight too, and into Monday. And also we were talking about a number of cancellations. I know a lot of churches are thinking about doing all theirs online. Somebody had reached out to us here on Facebook asking about ECISD. They have not made an announcement yet. MISD has already made the announcement to cancel Monday. We have not heard from ECISD.
Based on experience, Ector County ISD will let us know right before the morning show on Monday morning, about 4 or 5 in the morning on Monday. They'll have that determination. They send out crews to make sure, talk to local law enforcement as well, who discuss road conditions and the safety of their students. That's paramount, of course. But as is for everyone, like we said, you were here a year ago on First Alert 7 covering yet another winter storm. This one a bit worse because of the amount of ice that's actually falling. But even then, bridges and overpass is always a big concern for you.
Bridges and it's all slick. Some places are slicker than others, and it's just you gotta go slow, take your time, don't get in a hurry, don't hit your brakes abruptly, don't try to hit your accelerator abruptly. It's slow and easy, and if you have to get out, that's the way you do it. Just slow and easy, and you can travel safely.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of other cars out there.
Sure.
You gotta drive like you're invisible. So
Yeah, and watch for them at the same time.
Yes.
You guys are all on and I say you guys, county, city, there's a lot of you that are on a text thread, and you all have been keeping up on this.
Right.
No major concerns out there that you've run across?
We haven't had any major concerns. We had a report of a little community out in the county that was out of power, 55 residences, but that was found to be not true information, thank God. But we were prepared to go out there and announce via PA system in Spanish and English to get those people advised that there was, you know,
help available.
We would pick them up and take them to the warming center if they couldn't get themselves there. So we just don't want anybody to freeze to death, and we want to keep them warm and comfortable, give them some snacks, and let them, you know, rest in a warm place.
I know you prepare for this. You don't ever want to use it.
No, absolutely not. And, you know, we've done a lot this time that we didn't know we had to do last time. So it's a learning experience every time for us when all this winter stuff hits.
Saving lives at the same time, very important, especially with these conditions. We're seeing dangerously cold weather like we talked about. That's why the warming shelters are available. This kind of cold is actually life-threatening, especially the wind chill factor.
Yeah, I mean, you said, negatives at one point, and of course, that temperature will drop overnight, so it's going to be even colder than that. So keep that in mind. And so if you know people that are out there that maybe they tend to sleep outside, maybe that's the way they want to live, and there are people that do that, keep an eye on them. You might want to go check on them.
Absolutely. We do not want anybody to freeze in this weather. I just can't imagine somebody freezing like that. It's awful.
Horrible.
To me.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
But, earlier when I was outside here at the mall parking lot, the wind was blowing a little bit. My ear it started hurting. It got so cold in a short period of time. So need to be careful. Cover up.
Yeah.
You have to go out.
We have some pictures that our viewers send in of just around the town, seeing the different conditions outside. We have some photos we want to show you on your screen of how cold everything is. Look how frozen the roads are. This, Sheriff, is kind of what you're seeing across the area is very slick conditions, especially on roads, parking lots that haven't been driven on as much as, say, the Loop or 42nd Street.
Absolutely. It's snow covered, ice covered. The West Loop, especially the bridges, are very slick. Of course, the more traveled roads are a little better shape than some of them, but the bridges, the overpasses are still extremely dangerous and slippery. So, best thing to do is stay home.
What were the conditions like when you joined us on First Alert 7 this morning with Lauren Munt?
Yes.
What were the conditions like that in the parking lot then?
It wasn't real. It was slick, but it wasn't too bad because there was more snow on top than ice. And I didn't have any trouble navigating through the parking lot or even the roadways getting here. But it wasn't too bad then. Maybe a little worse now, but again, some of the more well-traveled roads are not as bad as we would think. But
Sure.
Last night we left here and it had we'd been out and around, in between, not too bad. We get out there and there was ice on cars. Your car door, you opened it and you heard the crack, with that ice. So it sneaks up on you.
Absolutely. All of our cars were froze up this morning, so I got me some alcohol and water and a sprayer
and squirted it all over.
And then
yeah.
pulled the wipers away from the windshield so that they won't freeze to the windshield, and so it's just. It's a learning process for all of us.
It is.
Yeah, we're not used to this.
No, we're all from here, and so it's very shocking to see this kind of weather.
Yeah, pray for me.
Yes, yeah, especially because you're out and about. Sheriff, as we wrap things up, anything else you want to get to the viewers at home?
Just if you need to get warm, please call us 432-335-3535. We'll come get you. No charge, no nothing. Just call us. We'll get you there, get you warm. And they got snacks and all kinds of stuff out there, and we just don't want anybody being cold.
Yeah, some
it's
people
miserable.
Some people may be too proud and think, well, I don't want to call, I don't want to bother anybody, but bother. You're saying bother you.
Bother us. You're not bothering us.
Yes.
We
yes.
want you to call us.
Yeah.
We would rather you call us than freeze to death.
Absolutely. There is a better alternative than that. That is for sure. Now, we talk about everyone staying home, staying with their families. Enjoy some time together. Why not? Maybe come up with a fun activity. First Alert 7's Lauren Munt has a special activity courtesy of the Museum of the Southwest.
All right, the museum is closed this weekend like most other places due to these frigid temperatures, but I did talk to them about an activity that you can do inside while also staying warm. Take a look.
Hi, so we're going to show you how to make a survival of the slowest obstacle course using things that you can find at home.
For this project, you will need an empty cereal box or any cardboard structure, a rock or a small heavy object, tape, glue, and any craft materials that you can find around the house.
Anything you can be creative with. It's all about engineering and creativity.
Now, there are no rules. Just use whatever you can find to create a really cool maze.
Doesn't have to be fancy, just something quick, easy, so it flattens it out just like this. I really love this activity for being inside because it really kind of gives you the opportunity to really look around, kind of get to know your surroundings and see what you can make when you really don't have anything to make stuff. Next, what we're going to do is you want to kind of start building it, just like we have this example here. You take different sorts of paper. You can use like toilet paper, paper towel rolls, some tape, some yarn.
And basically then, you just start placing obstructions anywhere on the cardboard that you want.
So I'm going to start with building a wall
Okay.
to put our obstacle course in.
Gotcha. I'm going to start here, making just a start line.
Now, this should keep kids busy for a while, but we don't have that kind of time. So let's make some TV magic.
So what we've gone ahead and done is we've added a little barrier here, added a little ramp here, just to kind of, add some more zhuzh to it, make it look nice.
Of course, next you need a friend to attempt your new obstacle course.
So this is JJ. He is to represent our slot that we have here at the museum, and he is going to go through our obstacle course here. So you'll stick him through, and when you pull it along, you'll pull it along the different areas.
This activity is inspired by the museum's Survival of the Slowest exhibit.
We really wanted to talk about how things move very slow, so we built an obstacle course where you're purposely making your little creature move slowly through the obstacle course.
Now, that little creature isn't the only thing moving slow this weekend.
It's really important that children remember, not everything is super fast paced. It's okay to go slow. Sometimes slow is best.
So this weekend, slow down, stay safe, and stay inside. Reporting at the Museum of the Southwest, I'm Lauren Munt for Alert 7 News.
Looking at the Storm Center Encore outage map, you can see on your screen there a few power outages. It's really not looking too widespread currently. Of course, this is going to be continually updating throughout the rest of the afternoon as conditions continue to worsen, especially in the next 12 hours or so, with more wintry precip expected. The cool thing about the Encore Storm Center outage map is the blue and pink kind of shows you where the snow, the sleet, the graupel are all falling across the Permian Basin. The thing with the ice is we're expecting about a 1/4 inch of accumulation in some of the worst spots, of course. That is some of the forecasted models. It's going to depend on the storm system itself in the next 12 hours or so. But by and large, the models are looking like 1/10 of an inch to a 1/4 of an inch in some locations. And any of that accumulation could be on your screen as well as we move into the rest of the area. As well. As we move through the rest of the area, we are going to see different differentiating factors in the way of snow, ice. It depends on where you are in this storm system, how much is going to accumulate on the roads, and what we can expect through the rest of the day. But let's turn now to a condition update as we head down Interstate 20. As we see, our sports team has been in place in Big Spring, keeping a very close eye on conditions there in Big Spring and around the city there, because conditions over in that part of the area could differ from Midland and Odessa. Let's join now First Alert 7 Sports' Wyatt Nunn, who joins us with a condition update. Wyatt, good afternoon.
Hey, Matthew. So the snow and wind are definitely picking back up as part of the second wave that the Weather Center has been talking about. The snow feels a lot like it did this morning at 6 a.m. and I can definitely feel the temperatures dropping back to that real feel of -4 and -6 that we had at sunrise. Now, another thing to note is the businesses that are prepared for whatever tomorrow could bring. Now, some of the restaurants around our hotel, such as IHOP, Popeyes, and Dairy Queen, have said they're going to stay open as long as conditions allow. Whereas another business, like the Starbucks that's behind me right here, they have closed for today and said that they will be making a decision either late tonight or early tomorrow if they are going to be open for Sunday. Now, obviously, the roads might not be in a place where people can travel, but for guests that are staying here at the Hampton or any of the other 4 hotels that are at this interstate stop, those would be a great resource for food. But we will have more on the weather and the conditions update here in Big Spring later in the show. But for now, reporting live in Howard County, Wyatt Nunn, First Alert 7 News.
All right, Wyatt, thank you very much for that condition update. We saw behind him just how wide everything is. It's like a winter wonderland, but it's very slippery.
It is, but slippery, exactly. It looks like they're taking it down now. I'm like, do they want to do some snow angels for us the next time?
That would be cool, yes. Lighten things up a little bit.
Or will it just be ice angels? I'm not sure.
Yes, of course, because we're encouraging you to stay home, enjoy some activities with the families. We saw Lauren with an activity from the Museum of the Southwest.
I actually bought, before they called us back into work today, bought a puzzle, bought some
Legos.
There you go. I mean, you can do a lot of things. You can watch movies, hopefully that power doesn't go out, but there's lots to do, and it's good to spend time at your, with your family. And glad it's a Saturday. Hopefully, you were going to do that anyway. But good times.
We live in such a fast-paced world, especially in West Texas. We don't get weather where you need to stay in all that often.
Exactly.
This is a good opportunity to spend that quality time. Join us, put us on your TV, leave us running. We're going to have continual updates right here on the First Alert 7 streaming app, Facebook page, YouTube channel. Exactly. We're going to be here.
Go wash those dishes, maybe deep clean, wash the sheets. Maybe there's stuff you haven't done in a while around the house, and just go and finish those things. I mean, I wish I could.
That's true. We're here providing you updates, though. In the meantime, there's a few updates we want to give you, especially regarding public transportation. Easy Rider, they have announced as of yesterday that they will not be running for today. And of course, that is due to the slick conditions. They don't want to put their drivers and also their customers in danger. And so it's a good idea that they close for today. Tomorrow they don't run, but on Monday we'll have to see what happens with that. We're waiting on an update from Monday because conditions are still varying.
Maybe a half day, or maybe just decide not to do it again. And
possibly.
Come back Tuesday, but.
And you bring up a good point because Midland ISD's actually already canceled preemptively school for Monday.
Okay.
You can find all of those at firstalert7.com. But there's also a lot of warming shelters that we can talk about as well.
Yes, warming shelters in West Texas, warming centers. There's in Odessa, Salvation Army of Odessa. That's on your screen. You see there. It's at 810 East 11th Street, and of course Jesus House of Odessa at 1335 East 6th Street. These are great places. They always provide the community, but especially during these times when it's chilly, it's cold. You really need somewhere. They pack people in, and they probably do activities there too, just to keep people entertained and. Of course, warm.
That's absolutely. Now, as for Odessa as well, the Ector County officials have come together to put together a warming shelter inside of the Ector County Coliseum Barn A. That is available for especially those who are maybe without power and going to go a while without power. That is a good spot to go. They have hot cocoa, hot tea, things like that set up for everyone.
I just hopped on, but what is the power grid looking like right now?
Sure, it's a great question. We can go and check out the Encore Storm Center outage map right now. That's a very good point you bring up, Isabella, as we continue to monitor it throughout the rest of the day. We're seeing, as you can see here, spotty outages, not necessarily widespread right now. That is good news, but still, one person out of power is too many. You'd agree. 7 customers out of power right now in West Odessa. The restoration time's looking about 8:30. That's still 4 hours away, so that's quite a lot of time. If you need it, warming shelters available. Ector County Sheriff Mike Griffiths saying that they are willing to come and get you if you need help. 432-335-3535 is their emergency non-dispatch number, non-emergency dispatch number for the sheriff's office here.
And isn't that amazing? I think
it's lovely.
I mean, just now that they're not here, they won't. They deserve to hear this. But the mayor, the city, the county, I mean, they do so much. We're just blessed to have people who are here to help their people.
And you coordinated the interview with Mayor Cal Hendrick, him coming in, and we appreciate that.
He said, he wouldn't mind me saying this. He said, let me just take a shower. I'm in my sweatpants. Sure, I'll head on over. He says, I have 4-wheel drive. I have a big hunting jacket. I don't mind coming down over. And
he's prepared, yes.
Yes, he's prepared, and he's just willing to do that always willing to help. Same with Griffiths.
That's wonderful. We do appreciate all that they're doing. We know they've been working very hard to keep everyone safe and coordinated. Looking back at power outages, North Odessa, I'll zoom in so you can see exactly kind of the area where this is happening. You're looking through a bit of the snow there. This is the north area of by Schlemeyer Field, it looks like. We're seeing about 24 customers without power. It says the cause is equipment, so it's not always necessarily related to the snow or the ice even, because we haven't seen massive accumulations just yet like we could see in 12 hours or so.
That's what also Sheriff said. He said, today, yes, people are starting to get back on the roads. His wife actually mentioned people are starting to get on the roads. They're seeing it kind of pick up traffic, and I think that's because they people are telling people, oh, it's not so bad, it's not too bad. But no, we still recommend do not get on the roads.
Absolutely not.
We have people out and about, but that's to keep you guys safe, to keep you updated with situations and what's going on. But we do not recommend you go and check it out for yourself.
Yeah, and you mentioned we do have crews out, and they are staying put too. They're at their hotels.
The farthest they're going is kind of downstairs to the parking lot.
Exactly.
So that we can see the conditions, but it's not necessarily let me test it out. It doesn't seem too bad. Let me get
definitely not.
Out there.
Yeah.
So we do recommend do not drive. That's pretty much the biggest recommendation we have, and of course it seems it may just get worse.
It could get worse. We're expecting, depending more snowfall and ice as well, sleet. That could be a possibility over the next 12 hours or so. Looking towards the Tall City in Midland, they're seeing the same conditions pretty much. 28 customers without power there by 6 p.m. as well. They also have warming shelters available to anyone who may need it. The City of Midland putting them out for you and your family if needed. Breaking Bread Kitchen, one of them. True Light Christian Fellowship, partnering up, teaming together for a 24-hour warming shelter. That is going to continue on until Monday. That is a big deal. That way they can take in as many people as possible, whoever needs it. Salvation Army of Midland as well, operating 24/7 from Friday all the way through Wednesday. And that is because, Isabella, we're going to see these cold conditions. We may see the precipitation let up Sunday, but the cold stays with us for quite some time.
For a while. And that's exactly what most people have been saying is it's going to stay. This is an elongated snowstorm and cold temperatures. Another thing, warming centers across West Texas. This was sent in by Shallow Salazar. She is a viewer in Big Spring. She's also actually, does a lot in Big Spring, but I'll be posting these on Facebook. This is warming centers for 2026 for Abilene, Fort Stockton, Hobbs, New Mexico, Big Spring, Odessa, Midland, Miles, Stanton, San Angelo. So outside of our viewing area as well. What we will be warming centers in all of these counties, in Eden, Lubbock, Brady, everything, Lamesa. So even if you're watching this and maybe they don't know that they're warming centers, you have family out there, they don't know where these are, I'll be posting these on my Facebook, and then we'll of course repost onto First Alert 7.
Yes, be sure to follow our Facebook pages. That's where you're going to get the latest information and up to date. Remember, there's delays and closures already happening in preparation for some of the worst conditions that are going to come in the next 24 hours and into Monday morning. We're already seeing Midland ISD close on Monday too.
On Monday, and now we have just into the newsroom Compass Academy Charter School in Odessa that will also be closed on Monday due to the inclement weather. And of course, they're just worried for their students. They're worried for their staff. These are hazardous driving conditions, and so that will be closed. So I'm sure most other schools will follow suit if they haven't already. Did you just mention Midland?
Midland ISD, yes, is closed. And of course, we're still looking at the closures in Big Spring. The landfill, they're not going to be able to operate because the conditions are not optimal for that. The golf course is closed. That is important for people to know. It's the weekend, but
it's the weekend,
Jay mentioned you're going to lose your golf ball.
Oh, for sure.
In all this snow and ice.
I know they have those neon balls, but
it's not a good time.
Won't match. Yeah, it's just not a good time.
Exactly.
Stay inside. I mean, if you are outside, you can go outside. Just don't drive. But you can go outside and you can, make snowmen with the little snow that we have. But I think it's just better to stay inside.
Absolutely. Stay warm.
Make some warm cookies, maybe. Make some warm drinks, hot chocolate, tea, whatever.
Enjoy your time
desires.
with family. That's what we want to drive home.
And if you're alone, that's good too. Just enjoy your me time and enjoy staying home and not having anything to do.
Absolutely. And Odessa College shares that sentiment with you as well, Isabella. They're closed this weekend. The Sports Center, the LRC, the Children's Center, the WEC, all of them are closed right now. Now, the evening classes, weekend events, all canceled completely. Now, mind, Great Western Dining is still available for anyone who needs some food right there on campus. That's wonderful. Online tutoring also still available.
Also available. I think you had an event this weekend that,
I did. I had a banquet that was canceled as well. Thank goodness, because it's safer for everyone, the students who would have been there, and they pushed it out, rescheduled. And I think that's a good idea, and that's what everyone's going to end up doing is rescheduling it just out of an abundance of caution, out of safety for whoever's going to be attending those kind of events.
Exactly. And you don't want to slip in heels. If it was a banquet, that'd be a lot of ladies in heels. We don't need that.
No, we don't. Not with the conditions outside. I'm curious, you're driving to work. What were the conditions you saw? And also walking into work. We walked through a big parking lot.
Okay, so I woke up very late today because not used to waking up on Saturdays. But Jay graciously came and picked me up. He has 4-wheel drive with his car, so he came and picked me up. But I did step outside just to kind of see. Not slippery, mostly. It seemed like there was a little layer of snow on top of whatever was under there. So walked outside, all good. Got in the car. Driving conditions were good. We actually stopped to get food, and we saw one of those trucks going and sanding.
Yeah, the brine trucks. Yes, Mayor talked about those. Yes.
Yeah, we saw those, and so those are out. The crews are out and working, of course. And then walk on the way into work. Last night, Jay's handles were kind of stuck. They were
crunchy.
Frozen. Yeah, crunchy, exactly. So last night seemed a little bit more dangerous, but walking into work today was just kind of tiptoe, being careful because there was water. Of course, there was rain yesterday, so it seems that's where the ice comes from. But not too bad. I also have my snow boots on, so
got it.
I didn't wear heels, of course, and I did not wear even boots. I was a little nervous. So I have my snow boots on, something with a little bit more grip.
Exactly. Mind you, we are streaming live on the First Alert 7 Facebook page, YouTube channel. We're taking your questions right now. We're keeping it on the comments section, so we're saying hello to everybody who's coming on by, saying hi, cuddle up on the couch, safe and sound with their dog.
Yes, exactly, yes. Spend time with your dogs. And since we're mentioning that, bring them inside. If you don't want to be
good
inside, your
point.
pets don't want to be, you know, I mean, if you don't want to be outside, your pets don't want to be outside. It is too cold for anyone. So just keep that in mind when you're, you know, when you're with people and your plants, you know, take care of your plants, your pipes, it's all of that.
The P's we always talk about: pets, pipes, plants, people.
People.
Check on all of them.
Exactly.
Let's do something a little more fun and interesting, visual we can see. Let's bring up our iCams to see what we're looking like outside across the cities. We have several pulled up. I'm going to go and click through some of them so we can take a tour across parts of our community as we continue to see them. The First Alert 7 iCam network here. This is Odessa. This is Grandview.
Okay.
There are drivers out here. They're taking it easy.
They look like they're driving cautiously, it appears. Everyone seems to be, you know, no one's going crazy, but I don't know. I wouldn't risk it. I wouldn't be driving,
either.
especially on the highway.
Even though we're at work, we had to take it very easy. Now, let's go down Interstate 20 towards Pecos, where we can see a bit of a curve. This is a bit of a dangerous curve, but luckily it was brined. This here is on top of the La Quinta, if you know where that is, past on the interstate there as you're coming into town, looking towards the east, kind of the northeast there. And you can see not a lot of folks out on the roads.
Less cars, and honestly, the cars that are on the road, they're working. They're
trucks, they're truckers,
they're
yes.
semis, so they seem to be working. And
Absolutely.
So that's good.
Kind of a stark difference, though, as we head down towards the border in Presidio, where there's really not a whole lot of precipitation there.
No,
Lots of overcast skies, though, real cloudy out there.
Super gray and white, but mostly in the sky. There's nothing on the ground.
Nothing on the ground. Now, North Permian Basin, we're going to see in Andrews there, a very different story, as you can see.
Wow.
That's a lot of...
And that's where Rachel...
Yes, Rachel Fortunato and Sierra Burnett are.
Okay. Wow, yeah, lots of snow on top of the houses and not too many people driving.
Now, mind you, if we head to the Eastern Permian Basin where our sports team is, things are a little bit harder to see. You can see it glazed over there, ice on the lens. And that's the case also as we go down to Interstate 20. On the top of the Petroleum Museum in Midland, we're seeing a very similar story there. A little hazy, but also it's that ice that's kind of on the lens of our camera there. You can see Interstate 20 kind of off to the left side of the screen, and another similar story as we go down towards I-10 in Fort Stockton.
Wow.
So that's kind of what we're dealing with across the cities right now.
All the iCams.
All the iCams, really cool to see, and glad we have them. We can see folks kind of taking it easy there on Grandview.
Okay, less people now.
Yes, much less people taking it easy. But you can see the glazing on the roads. That looks very dangerous, and those conditions continue to worsen and get colder over the next 12 hours or so. It's not going to be nice heading into our Sunday morning, especially for those who have to be out at work. We hope you don't, but we know the oil field is 24/7.
It's 24/7.
So we know they're going to have to be out and about for sure, but be careful out there.
Yes.
Jill says, stay safe, stay warm, guys. We will. Trust me.
Conditions. It's likely to be worse Sunday. Okay.
Yes, and that's the thing. And it's kind of the aftermath of that. We're going to see precipitation this afternoon, this evening, especially overnight. The snowfall is going to be added on top of that. We'll have to see what happens. We'll check in with Chief Meteorologist Tom Tieferteller in just a few minutes for an
Luckily,
update.
we have fantastic experts here.
We do. They're in the Weather Center.
To tell you more.
Absolutely. We're glad they're here with us, keeping a very close eye on things. Sora McElroy was in this morning with Jacob Brandenburg.
Fantastic, and it was super chilly this morning, I imagine.
It was very, very
just
cold.
As chilly, or did it warm up at all, or what were the temperatures?
It was cold. I want to say it's gotten colder, hasn't it?
It's gotten colder.
I think we hit our high earlier for the day. Yeah, so we hit our high earlier in the day, which is usually backwards.
This is totally flipped around.
There you go, some perspective from Ethan Yost.
Okay, Ethan said it was 16 this morning. Now we're at 15.
17, but yes, yeah.
Oh, okay.
What's the difference? Yeah, 17, 16.
It's freezing. All I know is it's freezing, and it's been freezing.
Goodness gracious.
Goodness gracious. You have a beanie on, Ethan. That's very smart.
He's been providing updates out in the parking lot periodically. He'll join us one more time here in a little bit, in a little while. We're going to go until about 5 o'clock. We're going to regroup, of course, talk to our teams and check in with them through the rest of the evening as well. But we want to remind you it's a great time because Chief Meteorologist Tom Tieferteller is here in the Weather Center. We're trying to gather new and used coats for Tom's Coats, an initiative that we have here at First Alert 7, where you can donate at locations across the Permian Basin. There are 4 Frostbank locations there listed on your screen between Midland and Odessa, and several others as well.
Yeah, that's right. There's Lou Allen Garcia Pipkin Funeral Home. That's in Midland as well. And here at First Alert 7, actually the green room over there is full of coats that we really should be handing those out right now. But yeah, if you have an extra coat, an old coat, one that's just gently used. Everyone has a coat in their closet that they're just not using anymore. It's not
Absolutely, I know I do. And
either it doesn't fit or it's just maybe you have a new one. You got a new one and you don't need that one anymore. And you haven't used it for years.
Yeah, time to part ways with the coat, and it can really help someone in need. All of the coats donated will go directly, like I mentioned, to the Salvation Army for those in need this winter. Speaking of, time now is 4:33, 14 degrees outside. Let's get a check of the weather now. I think we should go over to Chief Meteorologist Tom Tieferteller. He's been keeping a very close eye on conditions outside. Tom?
Yeah, so snow continues to come down across the area. Here's a look at that live eye cam once again in Odessa, showing us the best view right now of what's going on across the central Permian Basin as we're iced over in Midland and Big Spring. We are seeing some snowflakes out there continue to fall, and it's collecting on area roads, and you've got some of that ice in their spots too. So again, slick travel conditions across the area, and that's going to continue into the overnight hours as we're expecting more snow to continue off and on across the Permian Basin into the evening hours. Now, as you get down into the Trans-Pecos and the mountain areas, that's where we start to pick up some of the freezing rain. That's going to cause treacherous travel in those locations. So that's going to continue as we move in towards the evening hours. And we're expecting more waves of snow to start to move across the area here over the next few hours and continue to be the case into the evening. And we could see an additional 1 to 3 inch accumulations across the area. Zoom in and show you again, that's what we're dealing with a heavier bands of some snow extending over towards Stanton, moving into the Big Spring area at the present time and up towards Andrews. And here's where we could pick up an inch per hour snowfall amounts, and watching some of this move in from the west too. So we still got a long way to go. Periodic snow, sleet across the Permian Basin, but as you get closer to the mountain areas, that's where we're going to pick up freezing rain. Temperatures out there, we've been talking about this. We have sloughed off quite a bit from what we were this morning. We're now down to 15 out there across the Midland, Odessa areas, 12 in Big Spring, 14 in Andrews. It's a little milder into the low 20s across the Trans-Pecos and into the mountain areas. But you can see the Arctic air is really settling in, and what wind there is causing wind chill values down into single digit, if not negative territory across parts of the northeast Permian Basin. Big Spring, it has been bone chilling cold today. 4 below currently is what we are looking at in the way of wind chill values as that Arctic air continues to slump down across central portions of the U.S. Amarillo at 5 degrees right now, 9 in Oklahoma City. So the core of the Arctic air is upon us here in West Texas, and that's going to continue to hold on as the ground covered with snow is going to keep things cold and keep temperatures sub-freezing Sunday into Monday, it looks like. We have winter storm warnings, of course, that's a given, with 1 to 3 inch snow possibilities, additional accumulations, maybe up to half a foot in the Guadalupes. And we could see again another 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 inch of ice, especially down here into the Trans-Pecos and the mountain areas. We're watching out for that. It's going to cause treacherous travel. We're watching out for power issues across the area. And the extreme cold is a big deal too, as we're going to expect these wind chill values between 0 to 4 below zero, if not maybe a little chillier out there. As again, it is just incredibly cold out there, and it's going to stay sub-freezing below 32 through at least noontime on Monday, maybe a little bit longer with that. Cold weather advisories are up for wind chill values near 0 across the mountain areas. So again, you want to limit your time outside. Don't go outside unless you have to. Cover all exposed skin and dress in layers is a big thing to remember. Now the Futurecast is rather aggressive, bringing more areas of light to moderate snow across into the evening and the overnight. We're going to see that continue to move across. The good news is tries to thin out a little bit as we roll in towards late morning into the afternoon hours, maybe a little bit lingering across parts of the northern Permian Basin, but again, an improvement as that disturbance starts to move out of the area. And again, in case additional 1 to 3 inches of snow is what we're going to be looking at. The heaviest stuff is going to be off to the north across the northern Permian Basin into southeast New Mexico.
That is a lot of snow for sure. As we continue to cover this, of course, a reminder for you, closures, delays continue to come in. You can email them. By the way, if your organization is deciding on Sunday and Monday, email news@firstalert7.com. We'll get them posted to our website throughout the rest of the day.
Yes, of course, and more weather updates. Ethan is outside. Ethan Yost is outside so that you don't have to be to give us the latest right here in Odessa.
Yeah, we are outside of Music City Mall once again here this afternoon in Odessa, Texas, and the snow is starting to come down a little harder now. We're starting to see that heavier band of snow move in from the northwest, moving to the southeast. That snow line continue to plunge through the Permian Basin, and it is just bitter cold out here. Any snow that's falling is sticking to the ground immediately, right on top of the ice that accumulated earlier last night. Good news is that the freezing rain threat looks to be going down. As Tom has said, most of that's going to be occurring across far southern portions of the viewing area, across those mountain areas. We're looking more at a sleet and snow mix throughout the overnight. It's going to continue to cause some road conditions that are unsafe to travel on. So make sure once again that if you must drive out there, take it slow. Don't press on the accelerator too hard. Ease on the brakes and take those turns slowly, and of course add those extra layers with this dangerous cold, especially overnight tonight with those nighttime lows in the single digits, wind chills down sub-zero. So it's going to be dangerously cold, even for someone like me from Missouri, very familiar with the Arctic nature of the cold, but it's even too much for me. I'm shaking out here. So we're going to send it back to the desk right now. From First Alert 7 News, I'm meteorologist Ethan Yost.
Thank you, Ethan. We appreciate it. Yeah. Thank
Cold.
you very much. Cold. He
He's
looks
freezing,
cold. Again,
yeah.
I'm glad he has that beanie on. And you saw the cars in the parking lot. There are actually people here in the mall.
Yes, there are
people
quite a
walking
few.
around.
Got to be careful out in the parking lot. Be very careful. I know the mall's
Yes.
been working hard to keep the sidewalks
To
safe.
keep the sidewalk safe.
Yes.
And, I actually, made a round to see what was open. Just curious what was open in the mall. I went with Isis, one of our producers, and the barber's open. The coffee shop is not open, which is sad because I think we would definitely be, I think we would definitely be out there getting some coffee right now to warm up. But other things open in the mall. We're not recommending you come. Just interesting they're open.
It is.
The roller skating rink is open. There were some people on the roller skating rink, so that's open. A few of the shoe stores are open. We happened to walk by and look at the shoes and stuff like that. But it's just interesting to see what's closed, what's open. Some of the other stores, women's clothing stores were open. Dillard's was closed. Just interesting to see.
Good for us who are in the mall, that is
Yes.
for sure. Of course, like you saw, you can download the First Alert 7 mobile news and weather apps. They are free in the Apple App Store and Google Play. We invite you to follow. While you're here anyways, you're on Facebook Live with us more than likely. Follow our Facebook page. Download your connected TV First Alert 7 news app. So if you're on your smart TV, your Roku, your Fire TV, search First Alert 7. That is the app you're going to download, and you can watch us live here continually through the evening into tomorrow, as well as this winter storm continues to develop, and we're seeing more and more snow and ice on our roads across West Texas as well.
That's right.
Now, we have some fun photos we want to show you from viewers from you at home who have sent it in. We invite you to also submit them at firstalert7.com. Look at these conditions here.
Wow.
Seeing a lot of ice and snow buildup on roads, and Sheriff Griffiths and I were discussing how unused, lightly traveled roads are going to be very dangerous because we're not seeing the heavy traffic such as the interstate or the loops.
That's right. That's right. And you don't have those the tire marks to follow. And so if you do choose to go out and drive, it's just dangerous.
That's why parking lots are super slippery. Your driveway even, because you're not driving on it all the time, it's going to continually be slippery.
And a lot of these are salted out and
Yes.
things are put on them, but maybe your own personal sidewalk or driveway isn't because, that's your personal property
Yes.
there. And so you just got to be extra careful.
Now, you've been telling people, of course, stay home, stay warm, and that is the message that Julie wanted to send as she knitted a beanie for Paisano Pete himself. Look at this in Fort Stockton.
Oh my gosh. That is so awesome. She kind of looked like she had a matching
She
one.
made a matching one for
Okay, I was
herself.
like,
You're exactly
that looks
right.
exactly like the same one he has. That's awesome. She had to go and measure his head. to
I
make
guess
sure
so,
it
and
fitted.
got 11 feet in the air. That is 11 feet high, where Paisano Pete stands tall right there in the middle of town, if you've ever driven past him. A road runner who's been around for decades, and he's an icon in Fort Stockton, making sure that everyone knows they need to stay warm for the winter weather this weekend.
I think they need to keep that on him.
I think so too. Look great. It's a good look.
Maybe they can make him something fun for the summer too.
That would be cool. Maybe like a bathing suit or
A
something.
bathing suit, yeah.
We want to take a look at the Storm Center Encore outage map right now. We're going to look at Garden City and Glasscock counties. We take a closer look there. The southeastern part of town, we're seeing a bit of a widespread outage there. 120 customers without power, and they have been since about 9:30 this morning. And it looks like right now, according to Encore's estimation, you could be without power until 9 p.m. That is over 12 hours in the dark and in the cold, of course. So resources are available. Reach out to local authorities as well if you're out there. But Oncor is working hard to get those outages back up and running. West Odessa now, we're seeing a little bit of improvement there. Currently repairing an outage with 5 customers without power since about 3 o'clock this afternoon. Estimated restoration time is about 8:30. In the Tall City, they saw quite a few outages yesterday as that wind blew on through with that strong cold front out of the north, bringing in this cold air. 17 customers right now impacted by power outages. This estimated restoration time is going to vary, showing about 8 p.m. for central northern Midland. South of town along Highway 349, I was going to say Rankin Highway, we're seeing about 15 customers affected right there, 9:30 restoration time. So, of course, have backup plans in place. We've told you about having a bag in place, something with needed supplies, hand warmers, I should say, cell phone chargers, all very important.
Cell phone chargers, maybe some extra socks, a jacket. Maybe a windbreaker would be
windbreaker's
good
important, yes.
for this weather. But yeah, it's a blanket. Super important to have things just in case you need them.
And of course, also in Odessa, police have been keeping a close eye on roads and also the first alert forecast, keeping an eye on conditions as it was developing. They give some advice on how to stay safe on the roads if you do have to get out, but also keeping home. First Alert 7's Jay Hendricks spoke with Corporal Steve LeSueur about it.
All right, I'm joined now by Corporal Steve LeSueur, Odessa Police Department. Of course, freezing temperatures already here. That's the big problem. I know y'all are always called out for wrecks, whether it's just rainy or whatever, but it's the ice that's a big problem.
Yeah, exactly. Like I mentioned, icy roads is really the most dangerous thing. Pretty much, you just have to reduce your speed. You know, keep your distance between your vehicle and the vehicle that's in front of you. As far as my experience in being here at OPD, it seems like the most dangerous areas are, the I-20, Highway 191, places like that where you have the overpasses and the bridges. You just have to be so careful.
You mentioned also out in West Odessa, there's a lot of that too.
Yeah, Southwest, where they have they seem to have more bridges. It just seems to be more, ice forms right there, and it just catches people off guard. And really the best thing is just, really try to avoid, traveling on the I-20 or 191 if possible.
Yeah, we've noticed a lot of water too, and we've gotten some puddles out there. That's a big concern too.
Right. Oh yeah, definitely, because it can go from, having no crashes on the I-20 for, 1 second. Next thing you know, we have 3 crashes, all back to back. And, at some point, sometimes it's just more effective to just stay off of it. It's just better to just, take the service road or take an alternative route.
Okay, sometimes you also get calls about people who need help, need assistance, so they can't stay warm or they're out in the elements. You guys, I know the county has a plan. Do y'all have a plan also?
Yeah, so we partner with the Salvation Army. If it's a Czech welfare call, we respond to those quite a bit, especially in this type of weather. If you do see someone that is out, in the cold weather and you are concerned about them, please give us a call. You have nothing to lose. Call that non-emergency line, the 432-333-3641. Of course, if you think that they're deceased or, and it's emergency, then call 911. But, call it in as a Czech welfare and we will respond and we will take over from there.
Do you put extra officers out when it's like this?
Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. It just depends. We kind of monitor it. So really, we're anticipating it to get where, I think bad, tomorrow night, especially into Sunday and of course Monday as well. So.
Okay. And I know that, again, the big concern with those areas where there is water already, that's going to be the concern, especially now that temperatures have dropped.
Yeah, exactly. Like you mentioned, the flooding. The flooding is also something you have to watch out for. So just try to avoid going. If you see, if you see possible flooding, just turn around. It's not worth it.
Would you rather call 911 or the main number at the depending on what it is? But if let's check welfare. Would you want them to call 911?
No, for the check welfare, you can just call the non-emergency line unless it is a life or death situation.
Obviously, if you see something happening, a crash or something, you want to call that 911.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you're concerned about their status, if you don't really know, definitely call that 911. But really, the bottom line is that you just have to slow down and just plan ahead. And one of the most important things is keep that distance between your vehicle and the vehicle in front of you, because we see it time and time again. I think one year we had several dozen crashes. I don't know if it was 80 or 90 or whatever it was, but it was a ridiculous amount within a very short period of time. So
all right,
we've seen it happen.
Please be careful if you're out there driving around. Steve, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
We are taking a live look outside over Odessa once again on our live iCam network. We can see here quite a lot of slick conditions across the area, but I want to take you to somewhere special, somewhere where a lot of us visit very often, Ruidoso, New Mexico. with active snowfall. This is at the end of the Mountain Gods Resort. If you've ever been, Mescaleto, New Mexico.
I've never been.
South of Ruidoso. It's very cool. Beautiful out there. Normally you can see the mountain in the background.
Right.
Looks great, but we have a bit of haze, low cloud cover, some fog out there as snow does fall over that part of New Mexico.
Pretty normal weather for them, but maybe
They have
not
ski Apache.
this- Right. Maybe not this intense, this cold.
Yeah, this cold is definitely something for them. Speaking of, the temperature right now in Odessa is 14 degrees, and at the airport, it is 30 in Ruidoso, so it's actually
warmer
somehow. So it's very telling with the weather conditions. Specifically 33 degrees, so they're even up slightly above freezing right now, hence why we have snow and not sleet or
Well,
ice.
you mentioned this storm is, it's over how many states?
Oh gosh, Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma getting a lot of the snowfall, Missouri,
New Mexico's
Arkansas.
still in there, right? But it's kind of on the edge of...
Yes, a little bit, yes, exactly. It goes all the way to the eastern seaboard. They're looking at historic snowfall up towards even New York, Washington, D.C. Oh gosh, yeah, upwards of 30 inches of snow in some locations. We're seeing some incredible snow totals in some different parts of the country. Some of the areas of Texas have even possibly been forecasted for up almost an inch of ice. So it might not sound like a lot, but a half inch of ice, kind of what some areas could get forecasted to get, is devastating.
It's devastating, and that's when the power starts to get...
This is Ruidoso, New Mexico, into the Mountain Gods as well. Look at that snowfall falling
30
across
degrees
the
there,
area.
Tom, but 14 here.
But speaking of, why don't we go look? Instead of talk, let's show. Show, not tell, right? That's the kind of the term we like to use. Let's go over to Dallas, Fort Worth, on top of one of the high rises there that we can show you on our network of iCams and see how it's looking in North Texas. There it is, a winter wonderland. More like a desolate Arctic tundra.
Yes, seriously. I mean, you just can't see a thing.
Hardly. And then we're going to go down to Fort Worth, a little bit towards the west of Dallas, and look at that.
Go Frogs.
There you go. So you're familiar with Fort Worth.
Yes, I love Fort
This is the area we're looking at here. You can see covered in ice and snow. Continually going to get worse as we move through the rest of the day. Oklahoma City also is going to be hammered and continues to be by snowfall as well. They're seeing a bit of a lull right now in the way of conditions. We're looking live outside. Let's go to downtown Oklahoma City. There's the conditions there. Devon Tower in the middle of that. One of the areas also going to be hard to hit, mostly by snow. Bit of a different situation the further north you go in this system, because it turns out the further south you go, you get closer to the mix of ice and snow. That's kind of why we're seeing what we're seeing. And so that's just a look at some of the cameras we have from across the nation. But taking it back here at home, where we're most concerned about the slippery conditions in Odessa, but also keeping an eye on Interstate 20 as well. Down Interstate 20 towards Pecos, slick conditions there on this curve. That kind of scares me when I see that. But people are taking it nice and slow, and that's what we advise you to do through the rest of the weekend and into the weekdays, because the big question is, how long will this last? The freezing conditions?
Most people are saying at least midway, right?
But Monday is looking like, we're going to stay freezing. Ethan, what would you say Monday or Tuesday, or Tom, for when we get above freezing?
We're going to try to get up to 32.
32 on Monday.
On Monday.
So right at freezing on Monday. So that's going to be our high.
Wow.
So we're going to have to work up to 32. So we're possibly looking at Tuesday morning being a bit slick as well. Yeah.
Shine.
So that was what was explained to me, is that because there's going to be snow, we're going to see snow tonight on the ground. It's going to stay on the ground frozen. It's going to allow temperatures to stay that much colder, Monday.
That much colder, because the ground is so hot. That's, I think, right? I'm not really sure how this works, but our ground is so hot. Once it gets cold and then it stays cold, that's where it gets dangerous.
Yes, you're exactly right.
Because then it continues to stay cold and it will not warm up. Most of the time, stuff doesn't stick.
I mean, we got up to 60 on Thursday, about 65, so that helped out a little bit, but I think the effects of that are over with. As we've seen temperatures today stay right around 15 degrees.
Stay at 15.
Now, the effects of the front, Tom, as we look live over Presidio, it really didn't get much of the precipitation. They still got cold air, though.
Yeah, you're still getting cold air. It's moving all the way down, but it's not to the levels of what we're seeing here. They're seeing temperatures right now into the 30s and 40s down across the Presidio Valley, down into the Big Bend. So they're seeing the effects of the front, but not the Arctic air. Really, the worst of it has pushed through the Permian Basin and kind of stopped at the Pecos River.
Okay,
we're
that's
seeing
a good point of
temperatures into the 20s, though. Still Arctic air across the Trans-Pecos and into the mountain areas, but it's kind of a transition zone where we're seeing the worst of it up across the Permian Basin.
Right. And Tom, do you think, I mean, ECISD has canceled, MISD has
MISD, yeah.
canceled. I'm sure ECISD will follow suit. Do you see businesses staying closed on Monday?
We're already getting a lot of reports of delayed openings on Monday, so I think it's just going to kind of be a wait and see what things look like after we get a little bit of sun coming up on Sunday into Monday, how that will help things out a little bit. But right now, it looks like not looking too good on Monday.
Good on Monday. And of course, I know we mentioned this with the mayor, but church is tomorrow. I hope that a lot of people host, online versions of service for tomorrow, because again, still do not recommend that driving. That's not going to be recommended even into maybe other parts of next week. Not even.
Yeah, I mean, travel's really not going to be recommended all the way through Monday morning.
Right.
So.
Okay.
And there you go. And that's why there's a lot of these school districts, churches, organizations that have preemptively canceled or delayed for Monday as well. So you can find that list at firstalert7.com. Like I keep mentioning, the First Alert 7 mobile news app is a great resource as well. We are continually updating this as well as we move through the rest of the day. If you have any questions, by the way, now's your time to answer them directly. We can have Tom answer them, Ethan, myself, Isabella. We'll drag Jay over here if we want.
If we need.
I might bring him in here in just a little bit to kind of give an update on what we can expect as we move through the rest of the afternoon to see what he's working on for our First Alert 7 News at 6. Jay Hendricks and Isabella Garriga going to be joining you for live coverage in about an hour or so with what to expect. Celeste Gessner also going to be part of this coverage, and all of our crews from Sierra Burnett to Rachel Fortunato in Andrews, and our sports team, Wyatt and Jensen in Big Spring. We have you covered across the Permian Basin this evening into the afternoon hours and into tomorrow as well. Don't forget, tune in live at 6 a.m. tomorrow for a First Alert 7 special winter weather update. That's going to be with Jacob Brandenburg and meteorologist Sawyer McElroy and some of our other teams as well. Lauren Munt, part of that coverage too. But we've been all over the place this weekend.
That's right. And then on Sunday, what can viewers expect from us?
We'll have continual updates as well. We'll pop in as necessary. We'll keep a very close eye on power outages using the Storm Center Encore outage map. It's a great resource to have, as well as drivetexas.org, like I mentioned. So continually updating you on that platform, as well as right here on First Alert 7's Facebook page. And of course, tune in to First Alert 7 News at 10 Sunday night, and also tonight at 6 and 10 with you and Jay.
That's right. Speaking of Jay, if you want to come on over here.
He can come close to us,
sure
yes.
You'll be able to hear us.
We were going to ask you, there's a lot to expect tonight here in just about an hour or so on First Alert 7 News at 6.
Yeah, we have 5 minutes left of this show, and then, of course.
Yeah, we're going to, of course, get you up to date on, some of the things that are happening around here. We're going to talk about some of the warming shelters. We're going to, give you some of the numbers. We'll, of course, talk weather. We got to keep you up to date on that.
Any accidents?
Well, there have been a few, but I'm not aware. There's been a couple of arrests. There was a couple little things that have come through today as well. Most of what we're going to be talking about is going to be what we're dealing with right now, what to expect long term. We'll have a lot of the reports of the folks that have canceled things. Some churches are already starting to do that. So schools, we'll get you up to date on all that.
That's wonderful.
Perfect, yeah.
We have crews everywhere, like we mentioned. We're keeping a close eye on everything. Power outages have been okay so far. But like Tom said, things are going to be changing in the next few hours or so, expecting more precipitation very, very soon. So we're fixing to wrap things up. Again, ask your questions if we have them. Here some folks pointing out that they're staying home, staying indoors, which is good. But also closings and delays continue to pour in.
Yeah, and by the way, I want to update you. We were talking earlier when we were talking with Mayor Cal Hendrick and with Sheriff Mike Griffiths. They mentioned a lot of them are on this thread, and we received a message about a veteran who was needing a heater. He and his wife were at their home. They were talking to him about upcoming honor flight in April. He said he couldn't talk because his house was too cold. Someone just dropped a heater off to them. So
Fantastic.
And again, just the people here love the people. You know?
Absolutely,
we have the mayor doing all that he can, and of course Griffiths doing all that he can, and that's just wonderful to see the community come together.
The generosity of West Texans knows no bounds. That's very true.
Don't forget Tom's Coats. We've mentioned that a billion times, but that's also another thing. Just if you have a unused coat, come and drop them off.
Don't forget the warming shelters too. Those are available if you need them, and of course, if you are needing some assistance, you can call the Sheriff's Office, 335-3535. They have a line there that's available. They can help you depending on what your need is. If not, they can reach out to the folks that can get you that help.
All right, we're approaching 5 o'clock this afternoon. We're going to reorganize and get everything ready to go for First Alert 7 News at 6 with Jay Hendricks, Isabella Garriga, Celeste Gessner. I'll be out in the parking lot as well, giving an update on conditions outside. So we have a lot to get to. You can stay right here on First Alert 7's Facebook page, our streaming CTV news apps, Download them, keep them on hand, because we're going to be back in about an hour with another winter weather update here in West Texas. I'm Matthew Alvarez, along with Jay Hendricks and Isabel Garriga. Thank you so much for joining us.
Put on your coat. You're going to need it outside.
I know. Some mittens, too.